I'm Doug Brown. The MRI on the left thigh of Mavericks guard Luka Doncic comes back clean. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports he shouldn't miss significant time. Doncic left last night's game against the Pelicans, but says the thigh has been bothering him for about 2 weeks. ESPN's Diana Rossini reports the Jets are now more confident that they can acquire quarterback Aaron Rodgers. No other teams appear to be making a move toward Rodgers.
I never got a sense from the Raiders. There's been a lot of chatter about them being a team that was in on Aaron. They told me they were not. They're looking to the quarterbacks more like Jimmy Garoppolo, more those other types, not the future Hall of Famers like Aaron Rodgers. That's going to cost a lot of money and would be available only through a trade.
Diana Rossini on Greeny. The Jets and Packers are talking about a possible trade package involving Rodgers. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Jets will cut wideout Braxton Berrios by next week, saving $5 million against the salary cap. The Texans lose a fifth-round pick and are fined $175,000 for a salary cap reporting violation.
We all know the game isn't over till it's over. So next time you need parts for your car, don't call it quits. Go to eBay Motors. They have 122 million parts to take your car into overtime. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
Let's ride.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. LSU football hit the practice field for the first time today. LSU basketball still has a heartbeat. Baseball wins. Pell shock us all and up and Dallas. A ton to do, and we're going to get to all of it over the next 3 hours. Let us begin, however, on the Ponderosa. Thursday, LSU opened up spring football bright and early. 7:55 a.m. was the media availability, and then Brian Kelly followed by sort of introducing spring football and recapping the opening day with the media. So here was Brian Kelly, what spring practice is all about, what they're trying to accomplish out there these next few weeks.
There's no scoreboard out in spring practice. You know, there's no winners, there's no losers. What it's really about is the total development of the individual and them understanding that you need more than just talent alone to win a national championship. So making sure that they clearly understand what this next 5-6 weeks is about. It's not a, hey, I won that drill, or, hey, I won this one-on-one matchup. It's really about your total preparation, and it's about how you continue to develop the traits necessary to be elite.
Super odd how they've structured it. LSU practiced today, Thursday. They'll practice again Friday, although media availability. And then they have a big break until March the 10th. Until March 21st. So they're off from Friday all the way until the following Tuesday, March the 21st. And then they'll get into sort of a pretty regular rhythm of practice leading up to the spring game on April the 22nd in Tiger Stadium. Brian Kelly also today was it's very obvious that where the program is now as compared to where they were a year ago in spring, dramatically different. Remember, a year ago in spring ball, Brian Kelly showed up. He did his introductory press conference. We literally did not hear from Brian Kelly again until spring football. There were no press conferences for the early signing period. There was no press conference for the February signing period. He disappeared. He vanished until spring football because his head was down, building staff, remaking a roster that had turned over 75% of its scholarship players. It was a a whirlwind a year ago for Brian Kelly. Well, now you go through a really successful season. You have the number one transfer class. You have a returning quarterback. You got tons of returners all over the field, different expectations. And Brian Kelly spoke to that today.
Collectively as a team, we couldn't talk in these terms last year. We were talking about how to practice. We were talking about, not going on one knee during practice, taking your helmet off, throwing your helmet. We were talking much more about emotional control, guys trying to figure out, where they were and what their place was. So you can imagine from my perspective and the coaches, it's great when you can go out into a drill and just talk about competing and not about whether you won or lost the drill, but whether you used really good technique.
It's a very different reality today as opposed to a year ago for LSU. We'll get into some of the on-the-field stuff here in just a second. One more, though, just on the structure. I mentioned how it sets up. Like, they practice Thursday, Friday, then they're off all of next week, and then come back the following Tuesday, and then they get into their regular cadence. Here's Brian Kelly on how and why they set up this schedule.
So it allows us to kick into longer hours with the team once you go into spring ball. You're able to elongate the hours and have more contact time. So it allowed us more contact time with the team. And then it allows you to, elongate the schedule because you don't have to count these days that we're at break. We also have the Easter break where we don't have to count days. So it just allows us the ability to spend more time in terms of meeting and contact hours with our football team. So that's kind of the tactic, if you will, in terms of trying to spread it out over a longer period of time.
That makes a lot of sense. You essentially get 6 weeks with your team on the field in meeting rooms as opposed to a condensed period if you were to shrink spring. We've seen coaches in the past split spring around spring break for this purpose or to give guys sort of a break or a rest. But tactically, how Brian Kelly described it there was pretty interesting, why they've structured it the way that they have. As far as on the field, there's a lot of different things. Maybe most notably, a couple of spots where they're thin in spring, and one of them is at the running back spot.
Yeah, they're working through the injuries that they suffered. They're out there at practice. They've been great in terms of their rehab, and, certainly Josh is the closest in terms of being able to come back and, do some more drill work in the spring. Armani will not be back until camp. And, certainly Trey Hawley's going to get a lot of work, and he did today. Matter of fact, he grabbed me in the hallway, and, and typically as a freshman, you can imagine there were some errors, and he was looking for Coach Wilson and, wanted to apologize. I was like, just keep showing up. Just show up every day. You're going to be fine. And he's got a great motor. He's got a great attitude. He's got all of the things that you want. It's just the first day, and he's swimming.
So you're going to see the freshmen. Remember, Josh Williams got hurt and sort of missed the end of last season. Armani Goodwin with the hamstring injury missed a bulk of the season a year ago. Goodwin averaged nearly 6 yards a carry. When he was healthy, he was really good. But it's evidence of, man, it's more important to be healthy for fall than to rush back to take spring reps for guys. Same is true for John Emery. We know Emery's story. He missed all of 2021 because of the academic suspension, missed the opener this past year as well, and then worked his way back in. And now, was so surprising to a lot of people, is coming back for a 5th season in Baton Rouge. But John Emery was not on the practice field on Thursday, and Brian Kelly talked about why.
John is focused strictly right now on his academics, and so he's got some marks that he has to hit from an academic standpoint before we talk about football with him. That was the deal with John, is in talking to his family, is that if his primary focus was academics and taking care of his degree, then we would have a conversation about football. And so right now his focus is 100% on that.
I think we all know what John Emery's potential is. We've seen it. Maybe none more evident than the play he made against Alabama in Tiger Stadium on that swing pass when he scored and put his foot in the ground. And we talked about it at the time. He's the only guy on LSU's team that could have made that play in that Alabama game where he put his foot in the ground on the sideline, cut back to the middle of the field, and got in the end zone. So I don't need John Emery to be at spring practice to become a better football player. We know what John Emery is athletically. I need John Emery to be available, Need John Emery to get his academics in order. And good for Brian Kelly, by the way, for being very upfront and having that conversation with John Emery, his family, saying, if you come back, the spring is going to be about getting your grades in order, getting your degree, so that way when the fall comes, you can focus on football, and that's pretty clear that's where they are. So running back one spot, that was thin. The other, which we sort of knew was going to happen, was on the offensive line. And can you play number 9, please, Muse? Here was Brian Kelly talking about the issues there at the line of scrimmage.
We're really thin on the offensive line, and so the charge will be, after today, really focusing on shoring up that group. Now, we've got guys coming, right? We've got guys that are out, and and I'm not here to say that we've got an issue with a second group. We just have some young guys that are playing right now that it's really a first time out there. But we've got to shore that group up. When we shore that group up, we've got some talented players out there.
We talked a lot about the offensive line already earlier this week, especially with the addition of Lunsford, the transfer from Maryland, who will be here during the summer. And Lance Hurd, not an early enrollee, so Lance Hurd, the 5-star, is coming as well this summer. So as Brian Kelly said, we got guys coming, and you do. But I think the biggest opportunity right now is for Marlon Martinez. Charles Turner is going to miss spring because of injury. He was your incumbent starting center, but late in the season we saw Marlon Martinez get a lot of reps at center, and now he's going to get all of the first-team reps. Bo Bordelon, the redshirt freshman, is going to transition and take some reps at center as well. But this is a massive opportunity for Marlon Martinez. Brian Kelly talked about it.
We want them to stay, but as you know, there's another transfer portal, so we can't worry about those things. We're going to develop the guys that are on our roster. We're going to give them the opportunities that we believe is right for our program. He's done a really good job. He's worked hard in the weight room. He's reshaping his body. He's doing the things necessary for him to compete. He's getting first-team reps because Charles is out with an injury. But we won't know until we finish spring ball what his status is. We hope he's here to stay.
Again, Brian Kelly speaking about the realistic possibility that exists after spring. Guys go through spring ball. If they're not where they wanted the depth chart, sometimes they leave. And that's a spot where LSU could ill afford to lose another veteran player, so one worth keeping an eye on. Last thing, we also know that LSU is thin on the defensive line because of some of the injuries and guys that aren't going to participate. Jordan Jefferson, the West Virginia transfer, not participating. We know that Mason Smith, the phenomenal defensive tackle, is going to be a no-contact participant here throughout spring. So LSU, Mekhi Wingo, shoulder surgery, not going to participate this spring. So they're going to be thin at numbers there, but Brian Kelly was talking about the opportunity that a lot of these transfers on the defensive line have to make an immediate impact.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear that some of the defensive players that we brought in, Ovie Agufu, Omar Spates, I think, Jefferson, to name a few, are going to be guys that are going to be impactful. The depth at the cornerback position, all of them are really talented players. Watching one-on-one today, it looked pretty good. There's some things that we'll continue to evaluate. It's day one, but I'm pretty confident that the transfers that we brought in will make an impact, and in particular on the defensive side of the ball.
Brian Kelly recapping day one of spring football, setting the stage for the next 6 weeks or so out there at the Charles McClendon practice facility as Tigers getting set, geared up for year 2 under Brian Kelly. It's a Thursday AFR presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, online, theantiagingclinics.com. As a matter of fact, was there today, did my blood draw. Told you, twice annual blood work. Every 6 months I do blood work at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana just to check everything going on to make sure all my levels are normal and good, and if anything needs to be addressed, we do. So next week, I'll have my lab review, and I always encourage you to do it. It's been a life changer for me with how I feel and how I supplement myself to make sure I feel my best day in and day out. It's the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com. Okay, y'all, let me knock out a quick break. There 3 of the local teams were all in action last night, and all 3 of them won. Tiger basketball team stays alive in Nashville. Baseball team beat Lamar. Pels beat the Mavs. We're going to get to all of that. John Brady in 45 minutes. We'll talk to Scott Kushner of the New Orleans Advocate in hour number 2 as well. Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, his normal slot in Hour 3s. He'll be with us all throughout the baseball season on Thursdays in Hour number 3. We're glad you're here. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local. For more than 60 years, our friends at Clegg's Nursery have been servicing the Baton Rouge area. Y'all, spring is here. If you're seeing weeds in your lawn, don't mess with that. Let Clegg's Nursery help you out. Go by Clegg's. They've got their weed-killing cocktail. If you're not sure what to get, just ask somebody. Go find one of their great horticulturists in a blue shirt. They'll be able to help you out with what to get for your specific lawn. It's at it's at Clegg's Nursery, 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. They got Johnny Naylor seeds. If you're watching, we always play the video, and you can see Johnny Naylor on there. If you're a green thumb and you know about planting those vegetable gardens, you know about Johnny Naylor seeds. Just go into Clegg's, walk to the back wall. You see the full wall of Johnny Naylor seeds. It's a great time to put those seeds in the ground. It's also a great time if you want to plant rose bushes. They've got them. The Boston fern hanging baskets, they got them at Clegg's Nursery. And they're part of a True Value hardware store. So buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Here was Matt McMahon last night after his inaugural season as the LSU basketball coach, extended by at least another day.
Great atmosphere in here. Was really proud of our players. Thought we were connected at the defensive end of the floor. Offensively, 10 assists, only 1 turnover in the first half. Finished 13-5, which has been a good number for us. And that's how you overcome. We didn't shoot the ball great by any means. 36 from the floor and 20 from 3. But we got to the free throw line and converted. We dominated on the offensive glass, 25-4. And then we won the turnover battle. And so really proud of our guys and their response and finding a way to win.
Yeah, the thing Matt McMahon mentioned at the end there was the difference, was winning the turnover battle. LSU had just 5 turnovers in the ball game last night against Georgia. This team averages 12 turnovers a game. The last time they played Georgia in Athens and lost, they had 19 turnovers in that game. So when you look at a game like this, and when a team like LSU, who is the worst team in the conference, they finished 2-16, if you're going to win a basketball game, you're going to have to do something abnormal, something atypical for what your large sample size suggests. So look at LSU, and you can understand what happened in this ballgame. So hat tip to Sean Phillips. Sean Phillips came off the bench and had a really nice night for LSU. As a matter of fact, he ended up with the first double-double of his career. 13 points, 10 boards. He was a difference maker last night against Georgia. Phillips played 25 minutes off the bench, and, I mean, this is a guy it's his first double-double of his career. His previous season high in scoring was 4 points. He scored 4 points twice. Last night, 13 and 10. So you got something atypical. Trey Hannibal last night, 14 and 11. That was his first double-double of the season. It was by far Trey Hannibal's best game since the SEC opener against Arkansas, where he went off, scored 19 points, and LSU pulled the upset at the Mavericks Center that day. So Sean Phillips and Trey Hannibal, 2 guys, each got their first double-double of the season on the same night last night. So you got something that was outside of the norm for this team. And then, of course, I mentioned the turnovers. LSU has just been a turnover-prone team. They protected the basketball last night. They were not good shooting, 36% field goals, 20% from 3, although Adam Miller was 3 of 4. He had a beautiful 4-point play late in the game. If you happen to be watching it, top of the key, stroke to 3, defender closing out on him, ran into him, and he made the free throw as well, which gave LSU a little bit of a cushion late in the ball game as Georgia was trying to make a run. And look, credit LSU. Something we saw them do early in the season when they started 11-1. It feels like they played the same game so many times. They'd be leading, they'd give up the lead, then they'd get into a close game in the final 4 minutes, and they would make the plays late to win the basketball game. When the opportunities like that presented themselves in conference play, like the first game against Georgia, LSU wasn't largely able to close in those games. Last night, even though Georgia came back, took a lead a couple of times, LSU was able to overcome it. They blew a double-digit lead in the second half. They had a double-digit lead in the second half the last 2 times out. Against Florida and against Missouri, and they blew those double-digit leads. But LSU had a 12-point halftime lead. Georgia tied it at 57 with about 5 minutes to go. Then Georgia took a 61-59 lead, and then LSU got the 4-point play from Adam Miller that I talked about. Sean Phillips had a putback when it was a tie game, gave LSU a 2-point lead, 69-67, and then LSU gets a stop, come down the floor. It's a 2-point game. KJ Williams down the left side of the lane, double-teamed, beautiful turnaround floater, nailed it. LSU goes up 4, puts the pressure on Georgia. Georgia wouldn't score again. So they made the plays late in the ball game that have evaded this team so many times when they've had opportunities to win, and it was nice to see yesterday. So LSU beats Georgia in that ball game. Matt McMahon did talk also about the guys like Sean Phillips and guys like Trey Hannibal, the guys who stepped up in that game last night against Georgia.
I hate what happened with Derek with the shoulder injury, but we needed guys to step forward. I thought Sean Phillips made huge plays in the double-double, will stand out to everyone, 13 and 10, but he made winning plays in that final 4-minute segment. Made 2 huge free throws, blocked a shot. The offensive rebound putback just impacted winning. Adam Miller down 2. You go from up 12 to down 2, which we know has not been a good deal for us. We have not responded well there, and we come out of the timeout, and he knocks down a huge 3. Sean and KJ set 2 terrific screens and gets a 4-point play there. And then KJ at winning time, did what he's done all season long.
So it was. Listen, LSU's not going to the NCAA tournament. We know that there's not going to be postseason for this team, and they're not winning this tournament. But anything that you can do to build some feel-good, to build some confidence, to show progress is a good thing. And March is fun, and upsets happen, and we'll see if LSU might be able to make a little noise there in Nashville. So LSU will play Vanderbilt today. It's the night game again. The way that everything's set up, Florida and Mississippi State just wrapped maybe about half an hour, maybe about an hour ago now. Mississippi State beat Florida by a point in overtime. I believe it was 69-68 was the final. I'm not looking at it right now, but I don't see it. But Ole Miss and Tennessee are playing right now. So the late game tonight is going to be LSU and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, remember, when LSU had their long losing streak, they snapped that losing streak with a win at home against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is a little desperate. Now, Lenardi's latest bracketology has 8 SEC teams in the field. Vanderbilt is not one of them. Vanderbilt's 18-13 overall, and they need to go on a little bit of a run. Their net is 82. The only teams with a lower net than Vanderbilt in the league are Ole Miss, LSU, South Carolina, and Georgia. So Vandy needs to go on a run here if they want to try to push their way into the NCAA tournament and steal a bid. So Vandy needs this one. LSU trying to keep its season alive. We'll see if they're able to do it. Matt McMahon on facing Vandy for the second time.
Yeah, a little bit of a unique challenge from the standpoint we just saw him 3 weeks ago with Liam Robbins. He's out, but I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the only game they've lost since the end of January was that game at the PMAC. So they're still playing very well, even with him out. So we're going to have to really do a good job figuring out what they're doing offensively without his presence down there in the post and make sure we're locked in. I just think they're a terrific offensive team. So we'll have to do a great job defensively and then have a similar offensive attack to what we did when I think we scored 84 at our place in the first matchup. So that would be a beautiful thing to see.
8-1. Vandy's 8-1 in their last 9. The one loss, of course, is that loss to LSU. They beat Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida, South Carolina, Auburn, lost to LSU, and then beat Florida, Kentucky in Rupp, and then beat Mississippi State. So Vandy is 8-1 in their last night. Their last 9, their lone losses we mentioned to LSU. We'll see if Tigers can do it to them again tonight. It is tip is scheduled for 8 o'clock. We'll see if they actually started on time tonight there in Nashville. All right, AFR is brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. It's energy-efficient replacement windows. Tell you every day. Beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. And we talk all the time about the windows, but don't forget about their siding at Relief Windows. When we talk about siding, we're talking about a product that comes finished in whatever color you want, that is fire-resistant, weather-resistant, won't chip or crack or peel. Relief Windows has so many options. So go to their showroom. You go into their gorgeous showroom, their state-of-the-art showroom, and walk-ins are always welcome. And they have all of the displays there for you, so you can pick whatever color you want. Within 2 weeks, the entire exterior of your home can be remade. It's at Relief Windows. You want to make your home more energy efficient, beautiful on the exterior, fire-resistant, wind-resistant, weather-resistant, hardy plank vinyl siding could be the answer. Relief Windows does it better than anyone. ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door, siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. All right, we're going to go around the SEC coming up here in just a bit. Thanks to everybody who hung out with us on Scone and Tea last night. One of the questions was this wackadoo thing about, like, if you're in an arena. Muse, do you remember it, or were you not paying attention to us at all?
I was watching the baseball game. You weren't paying attention.
You weren't paying attention to anything. Okay, never mind. It was a weird question about if you could have you're stuck in an arena for an hour, and there's 10,000 rats, 3 grizzly bears, 5 silverback gorillas, 10 crocodiles, 50 hawks, 4 buffalo. What else was in there? A man with a shotgun. Anyway, and it was a few other things. It's like you could pick 2 to defend you, and the rest are attacking you. Which 2 do you pick? And T-Bob and I had about a 6-minute discussion on this, and you didn't pay attention to it at all.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, thanks, Muse. We appreciate it. Great job. Dynamite work, as always.
It's an interesting question.
What would you pick? I think we settled on...
I feel like I kind of either want the bears or the the gorillas helping me.
Yeah.
But maybe not both of them. I mean,
lions. There was a couple of lions in there as well.
The guy with the shotgun is enticing. I'm not going to lie. I mean, the guy's armed. That
You forget...
How many bullets does he have, though?
That wasn't stated.
Okay.
But here's the other thing. 10,000 rats is a lot of rats.
That's a lot of rats.
Okay, that's number one. what I decided was I'm going with either the grizzly bears or the gorillas. And the grizzly bears and gorillas are very comparable in size and strength. And because I think you get 5 silverback gorillas and
That's a lot.
And 2 bears, I would have gone with, I think, the 5 gorillas. And
to defend with you, right?
To defend me.
Okay, yeah.
And one of them I'm immediately sending to go kill the man and steal the shotgun.
Oh, because that's a good idea.
Okay. That's one. And then 2, I'm going for the Hawks. So I have aerial defense. Because I think the Hawks could swoop down and just get rats. I could send all 50
rats.
Hawks. Just get all the rats. And my gorillas are going to protect me. We're going to get the shotgun. We'll take care of everything else. It was an interesting. We had about a 6-minute discussion on it. I know because I clipped it and put it on my TikTok. At Matt Moscona on TikTok, by the way.
Yeah, crocodiles, like alligators, are blind if you come up behind them. So there you go. Like, just
can't change direction.
Yeah.
Not worried about the crocodiles at all.
I mean, that you can take that.
I really feel like buffalo. They're going to stampede. Probably kill some of the rats anyway.
Yeah,
could probably stampede on the crocodiles too.
You need the shotgun for the buffalo, though. You need the shotgun.
I'm not really worried about the buffalo. I'm really not.
Bro, I mean, you got Ralphie charging at you. I mean, you need a shotgun.
You ever seen a buffalo in person? You ever seen Ralphie?
Yeah, I've seen buffalo. They're massive.
They're not big.
They're huge.
No, Ralphie's not a big buffalo.
The buffalo in Canada are massive. Those are the ones I've seen. They are giant animals.
Go look up the handlers for Ralphie are taller than Ralphie. They're not big
he's
animals.
Wide.
Doesn't matter.
When he's stampeding you.
What's he gonna? And you know what I'll do? I'll have my silverback gorilla just grab him by the throat and body slam him and snap his neck.
I mean, look, I'm with you on the silverback gorilla.
I'm telling you,
I
dude.
want those
I'm not
on my
worried,
side.
I'm not worried about the buffalo. I'm not worried about the buffalo. I'm not worried about them at all. See, this is what you miss on Scone and T, Muse. And fittingly, someone did ask if we were high, and I said no, we're not high. We're just answering the question. Muse,
it's a good question.
Muse, however, sky high.
I was not.
Bet you were, Panama Red. It's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break and go around the SEC next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001. 752-0001. Get to have lunch next week with my guys Matt and Paul over at River City's 1 Hour Air. Oddly enough, of course, Matt and Paul are the producers of the show, but they're also the dudes that handle the general managing and the marketing for River City's 1 Hour Air. Great people. Big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. You see them all over town. Pulled into the gas station yesterday, right alongside of me, a big van from River City's 1 Hour Air. You see them all over town. I share with you 5-star Google reviews all the time. They're going to treat you great. They've got the best expertly trained technicians. They've been around for more than 40 years. Go read the Google reviews. They've got more than double the amount of 5-star Google reviews of the next closest competitor because they've just treated people great for 40 years. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Mention the Moscona special. They'll knock $25 off your preseason AC tune-up. Get this done. It's like an oil change for your car, but for your AC. It's River City's 1 Hour Air.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, we'll go around the SEC here in just a quick second. LSU earlier today picked up a commitment for the class of 2024. It is a punter. He described himself as a five-star punter. I know that the scouting services don't give out star rankings to specialists, but I think like the Coles Kicking Academy, whatever they do. So Badger Hargett, a five-star punter, commits to LSU for the class of 2024. Of course, Jay Bramblett has one more year. Tigers did sign punter Peyton Todd a year ago. I cannot get down with a scholarship punter every year, but every second year, if you want to sign a scholarship quarterback, then I'm certainly on par with that. You know what? Honestly, now that I say that, maybe I need to recalibrate that opinion, because obviously there's no more hard cap. There's no more hard cap 25. So without the hard cap, I guess you can justify signing a scholarship specialist if you feel the specialist warrants a scholarship. So anyway, Badger Hargett, naturally you might imagine, when I saw that Badger Hargett committed to LSU, my first thought, Muse, you know where I went. Where did I go with this immediately?
Honey Badger?
No.
The
man's name is Badger. Right. Badger Hargett.
Oh, I know where you went.
Where did I go?
Frat name.
Call Sharif.
Will do.
Ascension Episcopal is where he went or goes to school. 5'10", 175. Badger Hargett is his name. Never met him. No disrespect intended whatsoever. But our friend Sharif Ishak, who is an untalented know-nothing, but I've known Sharif for years. The one thing Sharif is actually really good at is judging frat-tastic names. We often default to Sharif and defer to Sharif whenever we come across a frat-tastic name, oftentimes, most often involving baseball. Oh, we have him. Okay, Sharif Ishak, who is a no-talent, no-nothing, but the one thing he does really well is gauge and measure frat-tastic names, is good enough to join us here because I'm sure he has nothing else to do, because why wouldn't Sharif be working right now at 3:39 on a Thursday afternoon? Sharif, terrible to have you. How are you?
I'm feeling worthless as ever right now.
Good. Love to hear that. Okay, we have one for you, and I would like to increase your self-worth right now by leaning into the one thing that you actually do well. So I'm assuming you know why we've called.
Let's get it, man. Hopefully you brought an A+ 5-star name for me today. It's been
Okay. LSU has secured a commitment from a punter. His name, he's from Ascension Episcopal. I've never even heard of Ascension Episcopal. Have you, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we covered him when I was at AFB.
Okay, cool. All right, Ascension Episcopal. Forgive me, no disrespect intended to anybody at Ascension Episcopal. I'm just not familiar. His name is Badger Hargett. Badger Hargett. Badger Hargett. How do you rate it?
There's no way that's his real name. If that is that is just probably the best name I've ever heard.
Oh, all right.
Badger Target?
No,
really?
Hargett with an H. Badger Hargett. Hargett.
Oh my
God! Does that change it? If it's Hargett instead of Target?
No, I've never heard Badger Hargett.
I know. How about it?
We're gonna have to start like making all first teams and handing out trophies and plaques for this one day.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll let you get on that. Or let me just put out the call. If you are a company that does awards and the like, trophies and whatnot, and are interested in working with us on an all name type, all fratastic name team award, let's talk. And every time we have a new 5-star name, we can add it to the plaque. We could put it somewhere in studio. I like the idea.
I love it, man. The iShack Moscona all frat team.
It would be the Moscona iShack or the AFR all name team is what we'll do. The fratastic name team, something along those lines is how we'll do it.
It's your show, and I just bring my worthless talents to it.
It's true. It's very true. But you know what? In this instance, it's something where you're actually bringing some value, and I appreciate it. I'm just glad that I can pull something of value out of you, Sharif.
Thanks for wasting my time today.
No, it's absolutely our pleasure. Believe me. All the best to you. Thanks so much for taking the time.
All right. Appreciate it, Badger Hargett.
Okay. There he is, Sharif Ishak, WDSU TV there in New Orleans. Sharif and I, we just don't get along at all, as you can tell. Sharif and I have just had this battle forever, since our college days. But Badger Hargett, how about it? I tell you what. Do you recall the last time we had a 5-star name? Do you remember what it would have been? I know.
It had to have been baseball, right? I would think it would have been baseball.
This is football.
Because we have Sharif on every year for the Alabama LSU series.
I know.
I mean, it had to have been then, right?
I don't know. I would love to say that I could go check my phone for text messages whenever I would have told Sharif to come on, but I always tell you just a cold call.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I'm just like, Muse, call Sharif right now. Like, that was not planned at all. Like, he could have not answered the phone. Anyway, Badger Hargett, a new LSU Tiger, a 5-star name.
Dude had an axe, too.
Look at that.
The punter. He's a punter. He's got an axe.
The commitment photo, the commitment graphic is, in fact, an axe. Edge.
I like it.
A punter with edge.
Dude.
Guy's name
Brad Wing had edge.
Guy's name is Badger. You better believe that he has edge. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, williamsoneye.com. Remember, eye care, eyewear, eye surgery. It's the Williamson Eye Center. If you've ever thought about LASIK, call the Williamson Eye Center. Maybe you need that annual eye exam because you should always have an annual eye exam. The Williamson Eye Center. Or if you need eyewear, if you do wear contacts or glasses, in their optical shop, they'll sell you glasses and contacts at the Williamson Eye Center. So call 924-2020. 924-2020. Go over that free consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson at the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020 or williamsoneye.com. All right, you know what, Muse? Since we're late, let me do this. Let me knock out the break here. We'll come back, and I'll hit around the SEC. We just caught up on scores from the SEC tournament, set the stage for all that as well. We'll get some LSU baseball to talk about as well as the Tigers beat Lamar. Stick around with us here. We'll do around the SEC and an LSU baseball reset from last night when we come back on AFR.
AFR.
Oh, speaking of LSU baseball, y'all, tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow is Take Me Out to Tallulah. I'm fired up for it, y'all. At the Renaissance Hotel. As soon as AFR ends, I'm jetting over to the Renaissance. Tallulah is the restaurant inside of the Renaissance Hotel. Very excited about this. There's going to be projector screens inside and outside. So if you want to come out to the Renaissance to watch the game, it's a game watch party. I'll be there watching LSU Samford tomorrow, inviting everybody to come and experience Tallulah inside of the Renaissance Hotel right there on Bluebonnet. It's free. Just come on out. There's going to be free beer samples, free whiskey samples. Now, you can buy dinner and you can buy drinks from the bar, and there will be great discounts on food and drinks, but it's going to be burgers, it's going to be bourbon, it's going to be beer, it's going to be baseball. It's all at Tallulah inside of the Renaissance Hotel. I'm bringing Hudco hats as well, so we'll sling some Hudco hats. Come join us. Make plans to watch LSU Samford tomorrow. Take me out to Tallulah at the Renaissance.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HudcoRoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, Hudco can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call Hudco Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I got a text into the show from Richard Bruce asking, did the LSU men have a chance for the NIT? Absolutely not. They were 2-16 in the conference. They're literally the worst team in the league. No, they have zero chance whatsoever. The only chance LSU plays in the postseason is if they win the SEC tournament and steal a bid to the Big Dance, and that would be as the biggest upset in the SEC basketball tournament maybe ever. Certainly since Georgia won it back in 2008. That was the year where there was the tornado at the Georgia Dome, and the tournament was moved to Georgia Tech, and Georgia stole a bid. I mean, it would have to be along those lines, and this would probably be this would be an even greater upset. That's not going to happen. I don't know that I would necessarily even pick LSU to win tonight, but there were no teams last year invited to the CBI with a sub 500 record. So no. LSU has no shot at an at-large bid to any of the tournaments. They will have to win the SEC tournament to have any postseason opportunity. Okay, it is after further review. Speaking of which, let's do it right now. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions.
Texas A&M!
The Texas A&M Aggies have brought on current LSU Director of High School and Community Relations, Mason Smith, to its football staff. There's multiple Mason Smiths. This Mason with one A. Smith was originally hired by LSU in the spring of 2021 by Ed Ogeron and was retained by Brian Kelly when he was brought on board. Smith previously ran 7-on-7 programs in Louisiana before going to Mississippi State for 2 years, then to LSU, and now to Texas A&M.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Speaking of those Bulldogs, quarterback Josh Flowers announced his commitment to Mississippi State via social media, becoming the first Bulldog commit for the class of 2024. Flowers is a 4-star out of Mobile, had offers from Bama, Indiana, Arkansas, Florida, NC State, Texas A&M, Tulane, UAB, and others. He's the number 21 quarterback in the country for the upcoming class. All right, last night, of course, LSU ousted Georgia and Ole Miss ousted South Carolina at the SEC tournament. So, turn the page to today's action where Mississippi State and Florida kicked off the day in Nashville and went to overtime. Mississippi State outlasts Florida 69-68. Tolu Smith had 28-12 for the Bulldogs. Right now, Ole Miss and Tennessee are just underway in the second half. Tennessee with a 6-point lead, 39-33. Again, Tennessee firmly in the field. Ole Miss with under the guidance of an interim coach there, playing out the string. We'll let you know how that one finishes. After the Ole Miss-Tennessee game, it'll be Arkansas against Auburn, and then the nightcap will be LSU-Vanderbilt with a scheduled 8 o'clock tip, although that is unlikely to go off on time. Let's see. Also, last night around the league, let's take a look at the baseball scores from the SEC on Wednesday night, as it was a busy-ish day around the conference. Kentucky beat Ohio U 9-2. Vanderbilt beat Evansville in 17 innings, 2-1. They set a program record for strikeouts in the ballgame. Georgia went on the road to Statesboro, beat Georgia Southern 9-4. The Gators blanked FAU 11-0. South Carolina went to Spartanburg and beat SC Upstate 19-1. Bama blasted Alabama State 21-7. Auburn beat Jacksonville State 6-3. As we mentioned, LSU beat Lamar, and Texas A&M went to Houston and beat Rice 6-1. There you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy, Trey Beal, and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. You know where to find them. GCOPnet.com, GCOPnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale. That's what you get at Gulf Coast Office Products, the official office equipment provider of the LSU Tigers, the New Orleans Saints, the ULL Raging Cajuns, and the New Orleans Pelicans. Excuse me. It's Gulf Coast Office Products. It was an interesting story, if you missed it, about Mason Smith, not the defensive lineman, the off-field staffer. Mason Smith is known as a guy who's got great ties in Louisiana and Mississippi. So a heady play by Jimbo to swoop on in and steal him away from Brian Kelly's squad. Evan Stewart from Texas A&M immediately replied to that tweet with the word "good" with a bunch of O's. So a lot of times it's the off-field staffers that are so good in the recruiting game. Earlier this week we had an LSU commit on from Ruston from 2024 defensive end, the edge rusher, and the first name he mentioned was J.R. Belton. And it's evidenced by how much work those guys and those men and women that are on the recruiting staff do that aren't on-field staffers. Not to say the on-field coaches don't work recruiting. Of course they do. But so much of recruiting has been built up through the support staff, and a lot of those relationships are built. So this is a guy, Mason Smith, who is respected, who certainly did great work at LSU, but Jimbo plucked him away. So another battle LSU will have to fight on Louisiana soil for Louisiana players from a guy from here who's now going to College Station. All right, it's after further review. Been meaning to talk some baseball. John Brady's going to join us right after the top of the hour from Nashville. LSU gets a win last night against Georgia. They'll play tonight against Vanderbilt. So we'll talk to Coach Brady to get a little thumbnail on this game coming up. Baseball Tigers did beat Lamar last night. One of the interesting things, we haven't seen Riley Cooper pitch since Round Rock. Jay Johnson was asked after the game last night why we haven't seen more of Riley Cooper.
You know, he can get right-handers out with the best of them. He was locked and loaded, ready to pitch. And, you know, we were probably going to go to him in the ninth. It just sometimes, and we do this with him all the time too, is they were just not seeing Garrett very well. And great poise really for the third time this year to come in and get us out of some trouble. And really for the first time in a while where the game's been on the line a little bit, you know, 6-1 and a couple guys on base and gave up a hit, but then responded great after that. So really proud of his effort. But, you know, Riley, I can't see us getting past Friday or Saturday without him pitching.
Riley Cooper had 30 appearances last year. This is actually more normal for a guy out of the bullpen. When you have a deep bullpen, you don't have to use a guy every damn game. So it's almost like, hey, why are we seeing Riley Cooper? Because you have a lot of really good arms. Good. Don't overwork that guy. But yeah, I'm sure we'll see him this weekend. All right, it's after further review. SportsCenter gets caught up on national headlines. John Brady joins us from Nashville when we come back right after SportsCenter.
AFR.
If you're looking at the walls or the ceiling in your building, your home, your office, whatever it may be, and you see mold, I think sometimes our first reaction is to freak out a little bit. Mold can be dangerous. But so often our first response when we see mold is you call a remediation company that's going to come in and they're going to cut sheetrock or pull furniture out of your home, get your family, your pets, your plants, everything out of the house. When you call mold zero, none of that is necessary. We are talking about minimal disruption with mold zero. Call Jim Woodworth and the gang. They have a patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. Non-toxic. So that means it's safe for your family, for your kids, for your pets, for your plants. Like, you just go out of your house. You don't have to move anything. You're not cutting sheetrock. You're not taking furniture out. Nothing. They come in, they spray because it's a fog. It gets into every nook and cranny, kills the mold, kills the odor, other pathogens. As soon as the fog dissipates, boom, you're back in your home. Servicing Greater Baton Rouge and Greater New Orleans, it's Mold Zero USA.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A suspected serial killer who almost got out of prison after serving a fraction of his sentence 6 years ago is up for parole again. Governor John Bel Edwards blocked his release after the WBRZ investigative unit exposed what was about to happen. Samuel Galbraith has served about 23 years of his 70-plus year sentence, leaving the victim's family perplexed and furious. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports there is no damage to the left thigh of Mavericks guard Luka Doncic. He'll be able to play as soon as the soreness diminishes. Doncic says he first hurt that thigh 2 weeks ago. A quick start for Duke today in their ACC quarterfinal against Pittsburgh.
Here is Proctor off a lively screen, carries him to the middle of the lane. Filipowski another three, sure, why not? Filipowski 6, Pitt nothing.
Wes Durham on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. 21st ranked Duke hammers Pitt 96-69, a season high 96 points for the Blue Devils, who shot 63%. Kyle Filipowski leads the way with 22. Other finals, number 6 Marquette beats St. John's 72-70 in overtime in the Big East quarterfinals. Big 12 quarters, Iowa State knocks off number 10 Baylor 78-72. Former Cardinals offensive lineman Kelvin Beachum says quarterback Kyler Murray needs to be a man and grow up in order to lead the team. Beachum, who's now a free agent, spoke with Arizona Sports 98.7 FM.
The new Venture X card from Capital One. Earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars and 5x miles on flights when you book through Capital One Travel, plus 2x miles on all other purchases. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Toplake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. LSU basketball, they get a win last night. They beat Georgia, avenging the loss in Athens at Segment Coliseum last month. And they live to play another day. Our buddy, Coach Brady, former LSU coach John Brady, of course, LSU Sports Radio Network, up in Nashville. Good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Coach, always appreciate it. How are you?
I'm doing well, Matt. How are you?
Man, I'm doing awesome. Feel good for Coach McMahon and the fellas notching a W last night. I know they've been hard to come by. The thing that was maybe most surprising were the things that were atypical that happened last night. You had Trey Hannibal and Sean Phillips both notching double-doubles. You cut turnovers down to 5 last night. What went so well? Let's start with Phillips and with Hannibal that worked so well for those guys last night.
Well, that's a good question. I wish I knew the answer. We'd probably won more games. I think Matt McMahon stumped about it as well. But, you know, Hannibal has always been a hard-playing guy, and he's competitive, and I kind of like him. And he's had some you know, moments that weren't so good, but I've always thought his competitiveness really helped him. And I thought he really played well last night in that type of game. Phillips just came out of nowhere. You know, he's had some opportunities, but, you know, Fountain didn't play last night because of his shoulder. He hurt his shoulder in practice, and they held him out. So it gave Phillips an opportunity really to get comfortable by getting enough minutes to play through a mistake or two. Coach McMahon left him in there, and he was really linked. You know, I've always said this, you can't coach length, you recruit length, and certainly at 7 foot and long arms and got some pop in his legs, the length last night boded well for LSU in terms of defending and rebounding. He had a tip-in dunk there at a big moment of the game. So, and the other thing was positive was the 5 turnovers. You know, previous 3 games, had scored 49 points off our turnovers to our 10. Last night with 5 turnovers, we won that stat 9-6. Wasn't big, but it was significant for LSU. And then on the other hand, we just played hard. We played well, had 4 players in double-figure scoring, which we haven't had that in about 7 games.
It was really fun to watch, no doubt. And so they turn the page to Vanderbilt. And Coach, this is a team LSU beat last month, and it's the only game Vanderbilt's lost in their last 9. So what is it about this matchup? Why did LSU appear to match up so well with the Commodores?
Well, we shot the ball well at home, and we really guarded them well, and we did a nice job on their 7'1" guy. Well, let's back it up 5 games or 4 games. He's gotten hurt, and he's not playing the rest of the year, so he's not going to be on the floor. So what's going to happen is I think it's going to be a perimeter game, our perimeter versus their perimeter. I think K.J. Williams could be the difference because we can throw it inside to him, and I don't think they have someone who can really guard him around the goal. But if our guards play well, take care of the ball like they did last night, get the ball moving as opposed to more passing, less dribbling, I think we have an opportunity to win this game. The draw fell right for us. I would much rather play Vandy, a team that we beat without their best player, than to play someone else like Tennessee.
Would you elaborate a little bit just on look, you've obviously coached in this tournament a ton, just on about the draw and why that matters and how you even approach that as a coach with your team?
Well, teams that are very physical defensively bother us a little bit. They push us off screens. We don't cut as hard. We don't screen as well. Tennessee, Texas A&M, example of 2 teams that are very physical in the way they defend. Teams like Vanderbilt that are more finesse than they are physical, we have a better chance against them because it allows us to run our offense. And I think that's what's going to happen tonight. Now, we shall see. But if our guards take care of the basketball, Adam Miller finally hit a shot at the right time. He hit the big 3, got fouled, made a 4-point play at a crucial part of the game. We have had moments where we've had opportunities to make big shots, and we haven't made them. Last night we did. We took care of the ball, and if we can do that tonight, I really, Matt, again, I think we have an opportunity to win the game.
Coach John Brady's with us. He's on Twitter at JohnBrady_coach. Liam Robbins is the big 7-footer that's out for Vanderbilt, right, who's been injured. Specifically, how does that matchup change just as far as personnel?
That's a good question. I think we guard them more straight up. We don't have to be as concerned as we did at home when they threw it into to Liam. We double-teamed him and had to rotate on the backside. And then when it was passed out, we had to do a great job on closing out to shooters. Tonight, I think we can just play straight-up man-to-man, help and recover, and do our normal rotations without having to double-team anyone off the post. So I think certainly the advantage is to LSU, and the advantage is to LSU because our team also should feel good about itself for what it did yesterday.
LSU and Vanderbilt tonight, a scheduled 8 o'clock tip. Coach, you got any idea how far? I know that Tennessee and Ole Miss are playing right now. Any idea kind of what we're thinking as far as what a tip may be tonight?
Well, they try to hold it as close to 8 as they possibly can. Last night I think we tipped off about 5 minutes early. But certainly maybe a little later. We had an overtime game. Mississippi State played the first one. Hopefully this game, Tennessee and Ole Miss will get over on time and they can start our games on time. But there's no way to tell. What I hope doesn't happen is the game before us, the Arkansas-Auburn game, goes overtime and makes our game start later. And the really thing that upsets me, Matt, is Eddie V's closes at 10:30, and I don't think I'm going to make it.
I love it, man. A man of the people. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, by the way, I had 2 more things. Number 1, and John Brady's with us. I love this last night. I saw that the LSU SEC legend was Collis Temple III, a CT3. Look, Coach, that's my era when I was in school, man. Going to watch Brady ball and watching CT3 light it up, man. You posted a great picture of you and Collis, and I would assume that's Collis' son with him there. Maybe a thought on Collis, coaching Collis, and then what it was like to see him get honored last night.
Well, I tell you what was neat about him, and I coached Garrett too, and both of those guys treating me like I was something special in their lives, and I really appreciate that. When Collis got his award, the first thing he did was he came over to where I was on the radio, and I stood up to shake his hand. He said, "I'm not shaking your hand. Give me a hug." So,
No.
you know, those are things that are really cool about it. And you know, whatever you think about their dad, I mean, he's something now. He's a handful. But he has raised those two sons, and they're good guys, very successful in what they've chosen to do. And you got to give credit where credit's due.
And the picture of CT3 and his son, they're both rocking those purple and gold Jordan 1s. I mean, I love them. I mean, Coach, they turned me into a sneakerhead. It's the first thing I saw when I saw the picture, except that Collis and I now have the same haircut. Before you go, when the time comes, you and I will have a chance to do sort of the postmortem on the season and year one under Matt McMahon. But, you know, it's realistically, I don't know that LSU is going to make the run we all wanted to go win this thing. But just, I mean, you're there courtside every night and you watch this team. I just love your thoughts on what it's been like and this team trying to persevere through just what's been a really tough season.
Well, here's what I think people need to understand and need to see. You know, you have the type of season LSU has had. There are a lot of negative things that can come out of that. The team could almost quit playing and quit trying. But to the coaching staff's credit and to Matt McMahon's credit, this team is still competitive. You know, if you really diagnose the two previous games before our game the other night, we should have won those games or could have won those games. We were in those games with 5 minutes to go. We just couldn't make the plays. Last night we made the plays. Our team's still competing. Our team is still trying hard. And hopefully it'll show up tonight against Vanderbilt on a team. I think if we kind of duplicate what we did last night, I think with 5 minutes to go, we're going to be right there, and it could be anybody's game.
He's probably going to be hanging out on Broadway tonight at some point. He's John Brady. He's on Twitter at JohnBrady_coach. Be a late night out there, Coach, on Broadway. What they got? You know, they got those pedal buses that go down the street. You know what I mean? You can get you maybe a little draft beer or a cocktail and pedal down Broadway. You can do any of that?
Well, it's a little chilly for that with my blood. So what you know, we're at the Renaissance. We're right around the corner from where it is, and if it finishes on time and Eddie V's has closed, I will probably drop into one of those honky tonks on the way home.
You'll probably hear some of the best music in the world in them too, man.
It's a great place to have the tournament. Man.
Well,
it's a great place.
It is. It's been a great venue, and here's hoping the Tigers can extend their stay a little bit longer. He is Coach John Brady. We always appreciate it, Coach. Thanks so much.
All right, anytime.
All right, man. Be well. It's After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. We'll talk some Pels at the bottom of the hour with our buddy Scott Kushner. Pels got a win last night. I mean, improbably. They were at home. They lose BI during the game. It felt like that lead, the big lead, was going to get away from them, but they made the plays to finish and win that ball game. So we'll talk about it with Scott Kushner at the bottom of this hour. When we come back, haven't talked to any Saints yet today. I want to do that next. We've talked so much about the Saints with Derek Carr and everything, but now that the hay is in the barn at quarterback, what else do the Saints need to address? And there's one position that's very obvious, and there's one suggestion being floated out there for how the Saints may address it. We'll talk about that next on AFR.
AFR.
All right, y'all, March Madness is here. Best place to watch all of the March Madness action is at Pluckers. Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Remember, they're open till midnight or later every night of the week, and tonight and every Thursday, it's all-you-can-eat boneless buffalo bites. So this is a great opportunity tonight. You want to get by and watch the SEC tournament, all of the March Madness action? Get by Pluckers, pay one low price, stay as late as you want, eat as many boneless buffalo wings as you want all night long. That's at Pluckers. Nicholson, just south of campus, or Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. LSU tips at 8 o'clock or thereabouts. You can watch the entire game, eat wings, drink beer, watch all basketball on TV at Pluckers. And remember, 1 week from today, our whole lineup, OTB, Hunt Palmer, AFR, we're all live at Pluckers for the opening, the kickoff of the NCAA tournament. We invite you to come out and hang with our staff all day long at Pluckers on Bluebonnet 1 week from today. That's at Pluckers. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Pluckers, you like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Electricity is all around us, and our families.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Nick Underhill from NewOrleans.football out here doing God's work, keeping everybody up to speed on what's going on in the offseason for the Saints. And Nick just tweeted a few minutes ago, there has been progress recently in conversations between the Saints and Michael Thomas on a contract extension. That, according to sources, not done yet, but talks are productive. So when Michael Thomas restructured his contract several months ago, the assumption, in my hands in the air, I think we all knew this, that Michael Thomas's time in New Orleans was done. And certainly there was no chance he was ever going to play it down for the Saints under that contract, because they were never, when the way they restructured it, there was no way they were going to pay him the massive roster bonus they would owe a week from Friday, a week from tomorrow, when that would be realized. So the time is ticking now, because that roster bonus is going to be due next Friday, so they're going to cut Michael Thomas. He will never play under that contract. But if they can work out a new deal for him under a completely different contract, such that he never hits free agency, then you do return a veteran receiver. Now, we can go round and round and round as to whether or not that's the right decision to make. And if and or when that happens, and it looks like it's on its way, Nick Underhill reporting that talks have been productive, we can discuss the merits of that. A player that, when he has been healthy, has been as good a receiver as the Saints have ever had. I would argue Michael Thomas, as peak Michael Thomas as he was in 2018, or that run in 16, 17, 18, is the best receiver in New Orleans Saints history. But we just haven't seen it enough. The last 3 years, he's just been perpetually injured. God bless him. He tried to play through the injury in 2020. We know what happened where he missed all of 2021, appeared healthy, came back last year, and just couldn't stay healthy. Now you have a guy nearing 30 years old. I guess with Michael Thomas, my thought would be I would love to see him back in New Orleans under the right circumstance. Certainly the contract that he had is not the right circumstance. But if you have the opportunity to bring Michael Thomas back on a one-year deal, an incentive-laden deal, whereby if he's productive, he will be compensated as such, great. I'm all for that. What you can't do is commit a lot of money to a player nearing 30 years old who has not played for 3 years with any assumption that he's going to be able to stay healthy, because he has not proven that over the last 3 years. And so it's this very weird feeling that you have this player who is revered for a lot of reasons, because when he was right, he was so incredible. He's just had a lot of injury misfortune here over the past 3 years. And it has cost him his prime and cost him a Hall of Fame trajectory and all of those things. But what a great redemption story it would be if Michael Thomas could get healthy, could come back and be a productive receiver for the Saints again. And the Saints do need to address receiver. I mean, it's unlikely Jarvis Landry is back. Not impossible, but unlikely. And so if you're looking at the Saints, you know you've got Chris Olave as your number one. And I was asked the question yesterday by someone, do you see Olave as a true number one? And I think that question is a little misguided, because a true number one can look a lot of different ways. I mean, Jamar Chase is the number one, and Cooper Kupp is the number one, and their physical skill sets are very different. Justin Jefferson is a true number one. I just look at Jefferson and Thielen on the same team and how different their skill sets are, but both are amazingly productive receivers. So, do I think that Chris Olave can be a leading receiver, be the Saints' number one? Yes, I do. And I like Rashid Shaheed, but a small sample size, and how does he build on the success he's had? After that, you got a lot of question marks. I mean, do you want Marquez Callaway to be your number three? Is it Michael Thomas, who's not been able to stay healthy? Or do you go address that in the draft or free agency? That's a lot of questions that need to be asked. But the Saints undeniably have got to address receiver this offseason, because you've got to build some depth and some talent in that spot. The other report from Nick Underhill here just a bit ago, so it's been a busy day there. Nick also tweeted just a bit ago, the Saints have been granted a 7th-round compensatory pick, which is pick 257. Now, he did not designate for which player the Saints have been awarded, or the circumstance under which the Saints have been awarded that pick. But the Saints have been awarded a 7th-round compensatory pick, so they'll add to their draft haul. And speaking of the draft haul, we know the positions seemingly that the Saints are going to have to address in this draft. We've continued to talk about them. I think receiver is one of them. I think they're going to have to draft a receiver. Running back. Running back is a must. Last year, I would have loved for the Saints to address running back, because so much of our conversation in the offseason was aging Mark Ingram, Kamara likely to miss 6 games. You need to start grooming the next guy. Well, Ingram's hurt. By the end of the season, what happened? You had Eno Benjamin and David Johnson taking meaningful carries. And Kamara now, it looks like, will serve that suspension at some point this season, and you don't have any other options. So they're going to have to address running back very likely early in this draft. And thankfully, it's a very deep running back draft class. The other spots that the Saints are going to have to look at, defensive line. And, whether or not they use their first pick, either 29 or 40 on a defensive lineman, you better believe that they're going to address defensive line early in the draft. And very likely in free agency as well. And over at ESPN.com, they did sort of like a tandem post, publication with Football Outsiders. And they listed the best free agent target or acquisition for all 32 NFL teams. And for the Saints, the player they listed was Jerron Reed. Now, you probably remember Jerron Reed. He was a great defensive lineman at Alabama. He was on that 2015 team alongside A'Shawn Robinson. Yes, famously the team that stonewalled Leonard Fournette in Tuscaloosa that day. And Jerron Reed was a second-round pick of the Seattle Seahawks. He was in Seattle for a few years and was very productive. As a matter of fact, he had 22 sacks in his first 5 seasons in the NFL in Seattle. But now whoever he plays with in 2023 will be his 4th team in as many years. He was in Seattle and then went to Kansas City, then this for 1 year, then this last year at 21, then this last year in 22. Reed was in Green Bay, and now whoever he plays for in 2023 will be his 4th team in as many years. So he's become a bit of a journeyman. He's 30 years old right now, but still an available player. He, in his Football Outsiders piece, they note that Jerron Reed played 68% of Green Bay's defensive snaps this past year. And that leads all free agent interior defensive linemen. So you're talking about a veteran player whose most productive days are behind him, but still a guy who has been available, been durable, and has been productive when he's been out there. So I always like to look at Spotrac to see that they have a market value function to see what a guy like that would command. And maybe the most enticing thing about a guy like Jerron Reed is that last year in Green Bay, he played under a 1-year deal, and it was super affordable. It was 1 year, $3.25 million. So you're talking about a guy in Jerron Reed who's been productive, who's been available, and who also is affordable. So if you're able to sign him to a similar contract in that, even if it's a multi-year deal or if it's a 1-year deal at roughly $3 million, that's a very palatable number for a guy that would sort of help reinforce your numbers. Now, when you look at the other free agents available at the defensive tackle position, I mean, Fletcher Cox is at the top of the list. He's 32 years old. Javon Hargrave both from the Eagles, also there at the top of the list, 30 years old. Dalvin Tomlinson. There's David Onyemata from the Saints. They put David Onyemata's market value, by the way, at take that off, please. They put David Onyemata's market value at $9.6 million per year. They're projecting a 3-year, $29 million contract for David Onyemata in this free agency cycle. Now, I don't know if that's going to be too much for New Orleans. I don't know if someone else is going to jump in and be able to offer David Onyemata more than that. But you'd love to have Onyemata back. You'd love to be able to supplement with an affordable veteran like Jerron Reed, and then theoretically draft that dominant interior player at the top of the draft. Like Todd McShay earlier this week mentioned Brian Breesy from Clemson. And I'm not saying he's going to be that player, but I keep looking at the great teams in the NFL, and certainly the great defenses in the NFL. And you look at Chris Jones at Kansas City. We talked about Fletcher Cox there in Philadelphia. You think about Jeffrey Simmons in Tennessee. There's just those types of guys are, I mean, I hesitate to mention Aaron Donald because he's just on such a different level than everybody else. But when you have that dominant interior player, it matters so much. And as an illustration, the Saints had that great run stretch of great run defenses. In 2018, they were second in the NFL in run defense. In 2019, they were fourth. 2020, they were third. 2021, they were fourth. I mean, you had 4 consecutive years where they finished second, fourth, third, fourth in run defense. I mean, it's also obvious when you trace it back how that happened. And this year, by the way, the Saints were 24th in the NFL in run defense. If you go back further, 2014, they were 29th. 2015, they were 31st. You don't have to remember this. Just understand the pattern. So they went 29th, 31st, 14th, 14th, 2nd, 4th, 3rd, 4th, 24th. Well, what happened? Well, in 2016, they drafted Sheldon Rankins and David Onyemata in the same draft, and they hit on both those interior players and were able to supplement with other players behind them, and they created a really dominant interior line, guys like Malcolm Brown. I mean, you know the names at this point, but that's what happened. Well, of course, Sheldon Rankins leaves in free agency. David Onyemata missed 6 games due to the PED suspension. Now he's getting a little long in the tooth. You've just had a lot of turnover there, and you haven't replaced those bodies adequately. And so you saw what happened this year. You went from 4th in the NFL in rush defense to 24th. You didn't forget how to coach defense. Same staff as Dennis Allen. You you didn't replace the personnel on the interior. So it's just a must. It's not a wish list. It's not a want. It's a must. You've got to go add dominant interior players if you want to get that defense, especially that run defense, back up to par. Maybe it's a guy like Jerron Reed. Certainly, it's got to be someone high in this year's draft. Okay, it's after further review. Pels got a win last night, much to the surprise of many. We'll talk about it with our buddy Scott Kushner next on AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You know what to do. Go to getgordon.com. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys have been representing injured people, good people of Louisiana for more than 30 years. You go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com, or call 888-8888. Whatever your area code is in Louisiana, just put it in front of 888-8888. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Gordon, of course, is the gourd father of NIL. He's helped so many student-athletes all over the state of Louisiana from different universities and in different sports have great opportunities through NIL. His Grubbin' with Gordon series that he's doing, where he sits down with some of his G-team athletes, has a meal, and asks them questions about life and business and all their wants and wishes. It's amazing content. You should check it out on all the social media channels. Just follow him at Get Gordon, of course, at Get Gordon. GetGordon.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans. Alexandria.
Hey, the Pels won 113-106, surprising us all. They got off to a big lead, lost BI, and then held on. They beat Dallas 113-106. Scott Kushner of NOLA.com, the New Orleans advocate, also the Polk and Kush podcast. Good enough to join us now. If anyone knows about being a miserable fan, it is our dear friend Scott Kushner, so we turn to him when we want to talk Pels. How are you, dude?
I'm good. What a brand to have. Just the miserable guy.
You are. You're that guy. You're that guy. Hey, all right. They won a game. How'd they do it?
They leaned very heavily on C.J. McCollum in the fourth quarter, who came back to life, and Luka Doncic got hurt. That helped as well. So the Pelicans were melting down a little bit in the fourth quarter, and no Luka out there to really finish him off, and C.J. McCollum was spectacular in the fourth. And they're right there in the 10th spot, just where we all thought they'd be 2 months ago.
Are the Pelicans basically the Saints? Meaning, we all knew for half of last season the Saints were done. They weren't going anywhere. But mathematically, they weren't done, so we had to continue to be interested because they weren't done. I mean, don't we know the Pels really are done? Or are you holding out hope?
No, I think they're not done. I don't think any of these teams at that, the bottom, whatever, 6 teams that are fighting in the West there, going with from Minnesota, Dallas, the Lakers, the Thunder, the Blazers, the Jazz, the Pelicans, but they're all kind of bad. It's not as if there's some crazy separation between them. And the Pelicans are better than Andy Dalton. So
are you sure?
I mean, I think. I don't know. We'll see how long Brady comes out for.
I don't know that they're better than Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely not great. No question about that. But they've got some bad opponents on the schedule coming up here. They can piece together some wins. They're at home a lot. And, if you win 3 or 4, in a row, all of a sudden things look a lot better. Portland's coming here. Oklahoma City's coming here. You just beat Dallas. Like, the whole tenor can change. And, you could jump up to the 6 in, they're a game and a half out of that.
I know. And you get 2 games against Houston and a game against San Antonio. But you had a home game against the Magic, who would, this team that's 11 games under 500, and you lose on your home floor when you got to have it. That's the one that crushed me emotionally, Scott. That's where I sort of disengaged with this team. But and I'm going to watch them, but I'm not going to be emotionally invested for the rest of this year. My question, though, is, well, how did it get here where with this? And people say, well, Zion got hurt, but Zion wasn't there at the end of last season. And they caught this mojo, right? And they run all the way through the play-in, and they push Phoenix to the brink, and there was so much optimism, and they were so good earlier this year, and then it's just gone. What happened?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it should be asked because I don't think this should be treated like it's normal. Like what has occurred and the meltdown that they've had is somehow just a symptom of injuries. I think that's really simplifying it. There is something that has occurred that is making them worse than they were last year. Now, they were probably a little overrated last year by beating, the Clippers in the play-in game when they didn't have Paul George, beating Phoenix twice in the first round when everybody thought Phoenix was invincible, and it turns out they weren't. So let's work off that, assumption that maybe things weren't quite as good last year, but they were a lot better than they are now. And it's essentially the exact same team. All the young guys are a year older. They should be better, and they're not just bad. Like, there are nights where they are horrific and unwatchable offensively, and I don't know what occurred and what happened, and nobody could really seem to put their finger on it. It's almost like Ingram and McCollum have too much freedom, and on the nights that they're not red hot and on, they cannot score on offense.
He's Scott Kushner on Twitter at Scott D. Kushner. Are they kind of like Tennessee baseball?
No, Tennessee baseball is extremely talented and very good, and just lose at the end. This would be a team that is capable but not winning at all.
Like Tennessee football?
Yeah, I'd say more like Tennessee basketball.
Tennessee basketball. That's a good comp. Tennessee basketball would be a good comp there.
Yeah.
I saw Graf tweet something like, ever since Tulane won the Cotton Bowl, the Pels were like 1-18 or something like that.
It was like 3 hours after the Cotton Bowl that Zion got hurt.
Wait, do you see the correlation? Are you willing to take blame for this?
Oh yeah, 100%. The gods looked down at my sports experience. It was like, whoa.
That's too good. Wait a minute. I know. God bless you. Hey, look ahead. Do you think Zion plays again this year?
No,
okay,
I don't. I said that. I think we talked a month ago, and even then, I just don't see it. I mean, he might, but it seems very unlikely.
Yeah,
every day marches forward that it just seems less and less likely.
Yeah, no, you did. You told us that a month ago, and it was interesting because I was just, and I told you then, and everyone I asked that question to, I wasn't going to nail anybody. I was just really gauging what people thought, like what their opinion was. And I remember asking Graf, and at that point, his thought was that he would play. And now we get the news yesterday that it's going to be at least another 2 weeks. So presumably he would only be back for the final 9 games of the year. My guess is, the question is, are they playing for anything over those final 9 games? So let me ask you, at 32 and 34 right now, they're 66 games in, so fewer than 20 games remain. What do you think? Like, how do they finish this thing up?
I think they'll be right in it until the last week or so, and that is a caveat of if Brandon Ingram's injury is more serious than we think, which, when has that ever happened before?
Right.
If he plays, if you've got an opportunity to beat some bad teams, they'll be right in it. I really don't think any of these teams are particularly good. I don't think anybody's going to run away with the 9th and 10th spots. So, yeah, they should be right in it. The problem is with Zion, not only does he have to get cleared, then he has to practice some. He's got to get in game shape. And then what is he going to play 12 minutes when he comes back? It's like, what's the point? And so you're far away from him being able to really contribute to winning. Now, maybe if they make the postseason, get a chance to get in the play-in, whatever, he can do more. But, yeah, I think they'll be in the mix all the way until the very last week, and I think they can do it. But, yeah, I don't see Zion contributing much.
All right. You hate Derek
Depressing,
Carr?
huh?
Yeah, I know. Well, that's why I talk to you whenever I need a good cry. You hate Derek Carr too?
I hate it.
Okay, tell me why.
I hate the thought of it.
Tell me why.
It feels like they're settling, right? Like it feels like what they want to do is win the division, and that is like a bad division. And so it's like if you can just get to the division, that's considered like a check mark, and we did it. And it's like beating 3 bad teams does not make you a successful franchise. I don't understand what the point of this is. Like, it's this weird middle ground limbo. You know you're not ever going to be the best team in the NFL, but maybe you'll catch lightning in a bottle in the playoffs. That happens once every 20 years that a really bad team comes out and like wins the Super Bowl. I just hate the concept of it. I would just much rather than think in bigger, broader terms.
Yeah, me too. But there's a lot of people that don't agree with you and me on that. I would much rather take I would take a 4-13 year if it meant taking a step back to take 3 steps forward, as opposed to what you just said. Yeah, great. Let's go.
I'd literally rather run the wing tee this year and go 0-17 than watch them go 9-8 and win the NFC South and be a 12-point underdog at home in the playoffs and get their brains beat in.
They're Tampa.
They're trying
Tampa.
to be the Commanders of 2 years ago, right? Or the Jaguars of this year. It's like, who cares?
Or Tampa of this year.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's what they exactly. It's like, I mean, sure, you're going to win more games than you would if you played a rookie quarterback or Dalton or whoever, but where are you then? Nah, whatever, I get it. But okay, what else is going on, man? Are you? What's going on in your world? Like, are you excited about Tennessee here in the NCAA tournament? Are you excited
really
about Tennessee baseball losing to Boston College? What's going on?
I am so excited by days like today where there are 1 million games to gamble on. I mean, Matt, there were like 30 college basketball games, and I had the ESPN app and the Fox app just going head-to-head live betting like crazy. I mean, this is the days we dreamed of, man. I used to sit and just dream about what a conference tournament weekend would look like with online live betting, and it is absolutely everything I hoped it would be.
Did you win any money?
No, God, I'm getting killed. My kids aren't going to college, but I'm having the time of my life.
Good. I love to hear it. All right, he's Scott Kushner. Follow him on Twitter at Scott D. Kushner. Read his stuff over at NOLA.com and the New Orleans Advocate. Thank you for the time, as always.
See you, man. Have a good one.
Be well, and we'll call Scott back when LSU plays Tennessee in baseball. I hope LSU just routes Tennessee through. I mean, if LSU sweeps Tennessee in baseball, that would just be such beautiful poetry if it goes that way. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros to wrap up the hour. Stick around.
AFR.
If you are buying or selling a home, why in the world would you call anyone other than Darren James? Like, it doesn't even make logical sense to call anyone else. The dude's on the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1,000 realtors in America. Like, think about that. The top 1% in the entire country, the top 1% of realtors is Darren James right here in Baton Rouge. If you need to sell your home, why would you call anybody else? Do what thousands of Louisianians have done over the past 2 decades. Call Darren James and get your home sold. Beautiful new listing right now. It's 4.5 acres. It's a gorgeous listing. Darren's got the whole video walking tour through it as well. You can check it on all of his social media. Agent225.com. If you need to sell your home, you need Darren James. Agent225.com.
Think real estate. Think Darren James.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models. And as always, you will never pay over MSRP. We also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A suspected serial killer who almost got out of prison after serving a fraction of his sentence 6 years ago is up for parole again. Governor John Bel Edwards blocked his release after the WBRZ investigative unit exposed what was about to happen. Samuel Galbraith has served about 23 years of his 70-plus year sentence, leaving the victim's family perplexed and furious. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. We're glad you're with us. Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, 25 minutes from right now. We talk a little college baseball with the managing editor of D1 Baseball every Thursday here during baseball season in hour 3. Kendall Rogers, so be here for that. Right now, Musso has Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
All righty, we'll start in the NBA. Last night, Trendon Watford records a double-double for the Portland Trailblazers. 12 points off of 5 of 14 shooting, was perfect from the free throw line. Also added 10 rebounds. Those are the only statistics that he recorded. No assists, no steals, no blocks. So if it wasn't a rebound or a point, Trendon Watford wasn't interested. But it was a double-double, so shout out to him. Came in 25 minutes of play.
Shout out.
Alex Lang picked up his first victory of spring training. So he's 1-0.
Sorry, not sorry.
Shutout inning of relief for the Langer. 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, still sporting a shiny 0.00 earned run average in the spring.
That is a traction athlete, Alex Lang, by the way.
Traction Langer. I like it.
Traction Langer.
Traction Langer. Jake Fraley, yesterday for the Cincinnati Reds, turned in a 1-for-3 day before being pinch hit for.
Scott Kushner just texted me. I got myself so fired up, I just dropped $100 live bet on Hawaii. What an idiot. I hope he wins.
Oh, me too. So does
Go get him, Scott.
So
you know what?
Kids.
You know what? I'm doing it with him. I'm getting on DraftKings right now. I'm getting on DraftKings right now. I haven't even done my DraftKings read. I'm doing it right now. Remember, you can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, make a it's a pregame money line bet.
Is this the read?
Yes. But the money line bet you do has got to be pregame, so this actually can't count for me right now because it's a live in-game bet on Hawaii. But I'm joining Scott right now. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. He's right, isn't he? He's so all right. Let's see. Live bet they're minus 165. What do we think? You stir up 11-7. I don't know what the pregame line.
It doesn't matter. That's the point of this.
Okay. All right. We're in. We're in. Hawaii live bet minus 2.5. I'm in.
So anyway, Jake Fraley was 1-for-3.
I'm in.
He was lifted after the 3 ABs. Ooh. Did score a run, did drive in a run as well. Fraley 389 so far early in the spring. Real solid.
It just went to 1.5. Fullerton just scored. I should have waited another
I thought
second.
You were going money line.
I did. I did, but the odds would have been better. It was minus 165. Now it's minus 145.
Gotcha. Totally gotcha.
Wait, let me see if I did money line. I actually don't know if I did money line.
At the Players' Championship today.
Yes, I did money line. I did money line.
Latest scoreboard here. Sam Burns is through 15 holes. He's sitting at 3 under par, good enough to be tied for 11th. Started par birdie, gave a couple back, but has since made 3 birdies and nothing but pars. He is getting set to tee off. One of the best finishing stretches in golf, 16, 17, and 18 there at Sawgrass. So he is currently 5 shots off the lead. That is Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com. For Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You know where to find them, corporate in Bocage and in the Mall of Louisiana. Gentlemen, thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Exquisite diamonds from the best diamond mines in the world. And because they buy in bulk, they can always offer you better prices. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. He just texted back, let's go Bows. Wait, I have a question.
Okay.
Is Hawaii the Rainbow Warriors again?
I think so, yes.
So they were the Rainbow Warriors. They dropped Rainbow and just went to the Warriors, and now they've reverted to Rainbow Warriors, I believe.
I'm confirming, but I'm pretty sure they did.
Please confirm, because that is my bet. I've made it at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Promo code Baton Rouge, $5 pregame moneyline bet on a college basketball game. If it hits, I'll give you $150 in free bets. Also stepped up same-game parlays. That's at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Do you have the Rainbows?
I'm just
All
seeing.
right, well, then hit the disclaimer.
I'm
Select parishes. Only bonus issued as free bets. 1 boost per eligible game. Opt-in required. 10-plus legs required for 100% boost. Deposit, parlay, and wagering restrictions apply. Eligibility and terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. All right, they are the Rainbow Warriors.
Like it,
yes,
yeah.
they are the Rainbow Warriors. So I want to know when they went away from it. I don't recall. But yes, they went away from it. Now they're back to the Rainbow Warriors. Okay, it's after further review. Thank you for being here with us. LSU football kicked off spring practice earlier today. If you missed it, we started the show today with some of Brian Kelly's thoughts on spring, offensive line, running back position, defensive transfers. You can catch all that on demand on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube, AFR YouTube, all that stuff. AFR on demand presented by Brett Golf. When we come back, though, Brian Kelly specifically talking about the quarterback position. We're going to talk about that when we come back right after SportsCenter. Hour 3 of AFR is next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. ShawbillsTire.com. Schedule service online. You can find the location nearest you online. You can shop tires online at ShawbillsTire.com. Remember, at Shawbills, locally owned and operated for more than 50 years. When they opened their doors more than 50 years ago, Mr. Charlie just always said, we're going to do things right, we're going to treat people right, we're going to treat them like family, and that's why they're going to keep coming back. That's why Shawbills offers you the Charlie's dozen. It's a dozen benefits that they extend to you whenever you buy tires at Shawbills. So, to learn more about it, go to ShawbillsTire.com. You want to find the location nearest you, go to ShawbillsTire.com. You want to shop tires, go to ShawbillsTire.com. Learn about their price match guarantee where you will literally not find tires cheaper anywhere. Go to ShawbillsTire.com. ShawbillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports Mavericks guard Luka Doncic shouldn't be out of action for very long. An MRI on his left thigh showed no structural damage, and he should be able to play after the soreness subsides. This just in, Kansas coach Bill Self will miss the Big 12 tournament with an undisclosed illness. Assistant coach Norm Roberts takes over. The Jayhawks won the national title a year ago. Today they won their quarterfinal game in the Big 12 tournament, beating West Virginia 78-61. In the ACC, Miami had a 17-point second-half lead on Wake Forest and almost let it slip away.
Miller, quick bounce pass back to Wong. He'll race it into the front court, all the way to the rim and score. How about that?
A play drawn up. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, a give and go of sorts from the inbounder.
Wes Durham and Jordan Cornette on ESPN Radio. 14th-ranked Miami holds on for a 74-72 quarterfinal win. Cal coach Mark Fox is fired today after 4 years on the job. The Golden Bears were 3-29 this season.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay, and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Come join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man!
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Muse, we do need to get a drop for Jacob Beck because he's been here for like 2 weeks now, sitting in, or maybe even longer than that, sitting in training board. Now he's training on the video board as well. And so this is lost on the radio audience who aren't seeing. But when we go around the room, top of the hour, to the introductions, the camera shows the production side over there. And so they're seeing this very tall, bearded man sitting there in the middle. Put yourself on camera, please. Wave if you would, Beck. There's Jacob Beck next to Paul and Muse. You look like Shaq, but next to those two, and especially at that camera angle, you look massive. We need a drop for Beck though, Muse. Like when he's here, I think we could work it in.
Yeah, well, especially next week because he's going to be filling in for me on some days.
On Sundays?
On some days.
Some days. Okay.
So we'll definitely have it for those.
Yes,
days.
we need a drop.
Well, we said it was going to be from Loser by Beck, but I don't remember what line you wanted. Some it was that
Get Crazy with the Cheese Whiz.
Yeah,
you good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Get Crazy with. So there,
Yeah.
Some people have mentioned just other Beck songs like Devil's Haircut or something like that. But I like
that's not as good. Yeah.
I like Get Crazy with the Cheese Whiz. I think it's a good line.
I like it.
Okay. Or you could just go, I'm a loser, baby. Beck, which would you prefer? Give him a microphone, somebody. Cheese Whiz or Loser Baby?
Probably Cheese Whiz.
Okay, Cheese Whiz it is. It's just that easy, Muse. I give people the option.
Hey, man.
If you don't choose and you leave me to my devices, you end up with Barbie Girl.
Works. It's stuck.
It has stuck. It is definitely stuck. All right, it's after further. My niece loves it too, by the way. Shout out. Oh, my niece Olivia loves the Barbie Girl song. Every time I see her, she says, Uncle Matt, I'm a Barbie girl. I swear to God, every time like, not even joking.
Man of the people, man.
Every time I see her, it's the first thing she says to me. That, then she asks me about her neighbor's cat. Every time. Okay, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. LSU opened up spring football on Thursday out at the LSU practice facility. Had a workout. They'll practice again on Friday. Then they'll take off all of next week and won't be back until the following Tuesday. Brian Kelly did explain why they've broken it up like this. Muse, can you play that one again? It's number 15. This is Brian Kelly explaining why they've stretched spring out the way they have.
So it allows us to kick into longer hours with the team once you go into spring ball. You're able to elongate the hours and have more contact time. So it allowed us more contact time with the team. And then it allows you to, elongate the schedule because you don't have to count these days that we're at break. We also have the Easter break where we don't have to count days. So it just allows us the ability to spend more time in terms of meeting and contact hours with our football team. So that's kind of the tactic, if you will, in terms of trying to spread it out over a longer period of time.
Makes sense. You're maximizing the spring practice days that you have by spreading them out over a longer time. So as we've gone, leading up to spring practice, we went through the things that we're watching, the spring storylines. And for me, look, there's some that are obvious, right? Don't get hurt, who's injured, who's coming back, newcomers. But I am looking at quarterback, and I am interested in quarterback this spring. I know what Brian Kelly has said. Jaden Daniels is the number one. He's the guy. He's the starter. There's no controversy. But whenever you're giving Garrett Nussmeier meaningful reps, it's hard to ignore that. When Garrett Nussmeier gets every third series in the bowl game, it's hard to ignore that. So I'm not saying that throughout spring there's going to be a controversy that arises. I'm just saying it's worth watching. So how much do we see Garrett Nussmeier get first-team reps? How do they divvy all that up? That is worth watching. Now, one thing is for certain. You've got Jaden Daniels, your returning starter. You got Garrett Nussmeier, who is certainly very capable. And you got Ricky Collins coming in, the freshman from Woodlawn. And Brian Kelly likes how his quarterback room looks right now.
Garrett was out there today, even after he's had some corrective surgery. He was out there competing, throwing the football. And, he'll probably be another week or so before he's full go and everything. But, yeah, I think he's excited and I think Collins, got a lot of work today. So we've got three quarterbacks that will get a lot of work in the spring. I think we're in a pretty good place.
Three quarterbacks. They're going to get a lot of work in the spring in a good place. That's interesting also about Nussmeier having a corrective surgery in the offseason, so they're still ramping him up a little bit as they move forward. Now, the obvious omission is Walker Howard, who transferred. So this is the first time Brian Kelly has spoken on the record about Walker's transfer since he announced that. Here was what Brian Kelly had to say about Walker Howard leaving.
Look, I mean, you're ready for everything. You want to do a great job of retention, and sometimes it's out of your hands.
I will go back to the comments Brian Kelly made after the bowl game, where he talked about Jaden, he talked about Garrett, and then it was oh, by the way, we also have Walker Howard too. And I'll reiterate it again. I think Brian Kelly genuinely believed that Walker would never leave for all the reasons that we all think. Legacy, kid from Louisiana, only wanted to play at LSU, all of that stuff. But looking at the possibility of back-to-back seasons on the scout team wasn't appealing to Walker, and he left. And so it's left you in a pinch, and it's left you in a spot where you can't afford now to see another quarterback, namely Garrett, leave. Because if he does, then you're sitting there with Jaden Daniels, and you're one turned ankle away from true freshman Ricky Collins being your guy, which is why I think it's very interesting how they divvy all this up. Now, as far as Ricky, this is an opportunity that they've got to maximize for him. And Brian Kelly talked about how they plan to utilize him here in spring with the early reps.
certainly as a quarterback, you benefit greatly just coming in, learning the system. There's so much as a quarterback, as you can imagine, from just looking to the sideline and picking up the signals. It's foreign to many. Some of the signaling takes a while, and the preparation of that. So just getting that down in itself. Then I would say, being coached and hearing a different voice is equally as important as you transition into, a new system. Coach Sloan is a great coach, but it's a different voice. And then finally, trying to put it together in quite frankly, a faster environment.
It's why for spring, I think the most value is for early enrollees or transfers, right? People coming for the first time or first-time starters. That's the value of spring. There's no value. It's why John Emery isn't out there right now. It's why Brian Kelly can say to John Emery, hey, just go focus on school. We know you can carry the ball and run the ball, and you know the offense and you're talented and all that stuff. We don't need you out here in spring. We need you to be available in the fall, so go take care of school. For the early enrollees, for the transfers, spring is an opportunity for them to understand cadence, reps, how things sound coming from the coaches, different terminology, just literally things like how you line up and stretch, all of those things, how a practice functions. So when you have to maximize that time in the fall because you're facing a deadline, like when fall hits, you're a month away from the season opener and you got to go. So spring is getting those guys up to speed. So when you hit fall, boom, you're sprinting. Ricky Collins is certainly in that number. The transfers who are here, the transfer cornerbacks, it matters very much for them. The early enrollees, the defensive linemen, like spring matters very, very much for those guys. Now, last year, year one, with Brian Kelly and Mike Denbrock, we saw the offense continue to evolve as the season went along. Really, as the offensive line got better and as the running game became more established. Early in the season, it was offensive line was a sieve, Jaden take off and make something happen. As the offensive line steadied, the two freshmen went in and you kind of got your sea legs, we saw the offense evolve more into what it was going to become throughout October, early November. Bama was probably the pinnacle of that. The Florida game was obviously awesome as well. Here was Brian Kelly when he was asked about the evolution of the offense from year one to year two.
When you talk about offensive philosophy, there's a line to be drawn about how you look at each play. And, if you look at the NFL, right, I mean, there's so much focus and effort placed on the singular play in the NFL, right? There's the huddle, and then there's all kinds of motion, and then that play itself is just a full commitment to a singular play, and that's why they run less plays than college. College sometimes it's like, run, as many plays as you can. And so my philosophy and our philosophy is we still want that play to have the quality elements of striking on a wide front where it can hit everywhere. And it forces defenses to defend that play, and you have complements off of it. So I think we look at the singular play more than anything else and evaluate it as such.
Brian Kelly wrapping up the first day of spring out at LSU as the Tigers getting ready for year two of the Brian Kelly era. Be fun to follow. Again, they will practice on Friday. No media availability, though, Friday. Then they're off all of next week, then back the following Tuesday on the practice field when we'll start to pick up with reports and a lot of the player interviews and coach interviews and all that stuff there. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Traction Sports, TractionSports.com. TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made, was over at Traction earlier today, and I was literally doing bench press and workouts right next to Ethan Posick. It's a former LSU Tiger who's now in the NFL with the Cleveland Browns. So where I tell you, when you go to Traction or your child, your son, your daughter goes to Traction for performance training that's strength, speed, athleticism, agility, or skill training, if it's that specific sport training, sport skill training, you're training where the pros train. You walk into Traction in the main door and you look to the right and there's this giant wall of photos of nothing but college and pro athletes who have come through Traction. You see all the jerseys on the wall. That's the resource that Mac Chiuili built for Baton Rouge, for South Louisiana, whenever he opened up Traction well over a decade ago, and what it's developed into now, and regionally the finest sports performance training facility in the southeastern United States of America, and one of the best in the entire country. It's Traction Sports Performance. TractionSports.com. They got a great membership model. It's 4, 8, or unlimited sessions per month. That's performance training or specific sports skill training with the experts over at Traction. Learn more. You'll be amazed at how affordable that is. It's small group training, so your son or daughter will be in small groups with kids sort of at their skill level as well, and they can learn and grow and develop with great coaching as in addition to what they're getting at school or whatever their team may be. It's Traction, where champions are made. Go to TractionSports.com. That's TractionSports.com. Okay, it's after further review. Excited about this. Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, joins us every Thursday here on AFR to talk a little college baseball. We'll talk LSU Vandy, preview that game coming up in about 15 minutes as well. Tigers' season could come to an end tonight, or will they extend the season, year one of Mac McMahon, another day if they can win up in Nashville. We'll get to that as we continue. Glad you're with us here on a Thursday edition of AFR.
AFR.
All right, y'all, tomorrow is a Friday in Lent. Many of you, if you are abstaining from meat, you need the seafood option. Of course, Rouse's has got you covered. Rouse's crawfish. I love, actually, Fridays during March when there's so much college basketball going on, knocking off of work, going picking up 3-5 pounds of bull crawfish, going home, maybe cracking open a cold beer as well, watching some basketball. That's just been something that rings in spring for me over the years. Best place to go is Rouse's. Remember, Rouse's has more than 60 locations across the Southeast, and every one of their locations has an in-house boiling room. So it's not like their crawfish is boiled somewhere else and brought in. No. They boil them live, fresh, every single day at Rouse's. They bag them, tag them, so you walk in, go to their hot and boiled kiosk, grab the bag of boiled crawfish, take it to the house, and you're set. It's at Rouse's. Also, St. Patrick's Day king cakes available in-store and for shipping. Learn more at Rouse's.com, at Rouse's.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Every Thursday here in Hour 3, we have the pleasure to be joined by Kendall Rogers, managing editor of D1Baseball.com. You can go subscribe at D1Baseball.com. He's on Twitter at Kendall Rogers. How are you, dude?
I am doing all right. We got, one more week till SEC play, so I'm looking forward to that, man.
LSU, let me just jump right there just as a precursor. LSU's going to open up at A&M in conference play. A&M offensively has kind of struggled. I mean, is that a series where, as they start the season, you look at LSU as probably a pretty significant favorite in that series?
Yeah, I would say so right now, but what's kind of scary about that series for LSU is that it's kind of the same pattern as last year, right? If you remember when A&M and LSU played in Baton Rouge last year, we're kind of thinking, oh, man, LSU is going to smash them. A&M's not playing very well. And all of a sudden, A&M, plays well that weekend, and they end up having a great season. So, I think if you're LSU, you kind of go into that series cautiously optimistic. But I will say this about A&M. They did not play very well the first couple weeks of the season. But, they won that 16-inning game against Texas Tech on Sunday. They played a little bit better over the weekend at the Shriners College Classic, and I'll be interested to see how they look this weekend. Will they play well again this upcoming weekend? That'll kind of give us an idea, kind of a measuring stick on what to expect in SEC play.
LSU, meanwhile, won 5 games in 6 days. They just blew out a lot of bad teams. Could you extrapolate anything from this weekend for LSU?
I can, and that's Ty Floyd is when you look at his outing over the weekend, I thought that was promising. There's several guys threw well. Paul Skeens threw well. For the most part, the pitching was really, really good. And so I think if you're Jay Johnson kind of going into conference play in a couple of weeks is you've got a lot of options. And I think, what Thatcher Hurd did on the mound with his strikeout total, his overall stuff. I've still maintained that I think if LSU is going to be a national champion this year, he needs to be a guy that's in the week rotation. He's got premier stuff. He's got a great arm. Everything is there for him to be one of the best pitchers in college baseball. And so, yeah, I think you can take some things from that. It's consistency from the pitchers more than anything else.
So if you were to set LSU's best rotation, how would it look?
I would go right now with Paul Skeens, Floyd, and Thatcher Hurd.
Okay.
The last two in no particular order. Obviously, Paul Skeens number one. But those other two guys, I just feel like stuff-wise, they're just a step above some of these other guys. Although I do like Chase Shores a lot, but I think in SEC play I feel a little bit more confident, with older guys.
Yeah, Chase Shores is the freshman who certainly looks the part. So what have been your early impressions of the freshman?
Yeah, I think the thing about Chase is when I saw him in the fall, I mean, the first thing that stood out to me about Chase was just his overall size. I mean, he looked gigantic on the mound in fall ball. And so I just think when you look at him and you look at his fastball, it's up to 94, 95. The day I saw him, the slider was electric. And you know what? It hasn't always been just perfect for him so far this year, but he's a freshman. And I'll tell you what, when you show a plus slider in the fall, in your first time out that I've seen you, that gives me a pretty good idea you're going to be really, really good. So I think Chase Shores is good right now. I think he's a guy that a year from now, with Wes Johnson, you're going to look at it and go, man, he has the ability to be one of the best pitchers in the sport.
He's on Twitter at Kendall Rogers. Hey, I'm curious also, so Paxton Kling has really started to find his groove. How, and he will be a draft-eligible sophomore next year. How do you all at D1 Baseball rate him in next year's draft class?
Yeah, I mean, I think from a total standpoint, he would be decently up there. The problem with him is he's one of those guys that, at a place like LSU, he's going to have an incredible season, and you're going to have a team draft him that is willing to spend a ton of money. Because if you're Paxton Kling and you're draft eligible next year, you lose zero leverage by going back to LSU for another season. So, somebody's going to have to pay a lot of money. So, in one sense, he's a really good prospect for next year's draft, but in another, you almost kind of ding him a little bit because I just don't think teams are going to be willing to spend the money to take him because, he has everything to gain by going back to school for another year. He could go from, let's say, late first, second round type of talent into a guy that's a top 5 pick in the next year.
That is music to our ears. Please give me 3 years of Paxton Kling. Please give me 3 years.
It is hard to get guys, that are sophomore eligible. And the thing I love about him, dude, he kind of, I get like the mechanics are a little different, but just the overall look at him reminds me so much of Dylan Cruz as a freshman. It just, to me, just looks the same. The actions look the same. The hair looks the same. He just kind of gives me the same look, although Dylan was a little bit more physical as a freshman, but still.
Is Kling bigger?
It's a great question. I actually kind of feel, I think muscle-wise, I thought Dylan looked more imposing last year than Kling does now, but Kling seems to have a little bit more length to me.
I guess that's more what I meant. Taller, longer, but
he seems a little taller to me.
They list him at 6'2", 205. They list Paxton Kling at 6'2", 205. But look, man, I'm not pushing.
I wish I was 6'2", 205.
Hey, bro, I'm not pushing that kid out the door. Please hang in Baton Rouge for 3 years, Paxton Kling. What do you know? Kendall Rogers is with us. LSU is going to bring in Samford this week for the final tune-up before conference play.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about Samford?
Well, the biggest thing about them is, I kind of feel sorry for them because, every single time they have a really good hitter, they end up transferring the SEC. 2 years ago, it was Sonny DeShera. Last year, it was, Colton Ledbetter went to Mississippi State. So it's kind of like, hey, who's going to be that guy this year? I think when you look at them overall, they've been really consistent on the mound. They've been a little bit inconsistent offensively. I do think Tony David's a really good coach, but they're going to be slightly overmatched this weekend. I think the biggest highlight is, the return of Maurice Hampton to Baton Rouge.
That's a great point. I forgot Mo Hampton was there. So, of course, was a two, for those that forgot, was a two-sport player at LSU, a defensive back, and then obviously a great baseball prospect.
Yeah, he scuffed a little bit offensively, but he's certainly a really good athlete.
Kendall, he passed on 7 figures, didn't he, out of high school to sign?
Yeah, that might not have been the best decision.
Yeah, man. Whew. You got 7 figures in your hand. Take it. Hey, what else? As I look at the SEC slate this weekend, it's kind of what you expect. A lot of teams that are likely gonna just overwhelm lesser teams. Anything on the slate this weekend? You say, keep an eye on that one because that could get interesting.
Yes, Louisiana Tech and Arkansas could get really interesting. I think when you look at the Hogs overall, this is a team that has now lost the number one starter. Their closer's on the shelf for 6 to 7 weeks. They lost Cody Frank for the year, one of their key bullpen pieces. And if you're down on some arms, La Tech is not the team I want to play. Lane Burroughs always has those dudes ready. And let's not forget, the last time they faced an SEC team last week, Ole Miss pulled the plug on them when they had a lead in the 7th inning. You can bet they're going to be ready to play an SEC team this weekend in Arkansas. And they've played Arkansas tough historically, so keep an eye on that one. It would not shock me if La Tech wins that series. I think they're actually a pretty good team.
All right. It's of course, in Fayetteville. Give me one big topic nationally outside of the SEC as we head into this final weekend before conference play starts.
2 quick things. The start of ACC play this weekend. Boston College, which beat Tennessee on Tuesday. I know everybody's really sad that Tennessee lost. But BC's 10-1. They've won 9 straight. And so they start ACC play this weekend. How will that go? Wake Forest, who's been kind of a tour de force so far this year, they start ACC play at Duke, who's also red hot. So an NC State, who's undefeated, goes to Miami this weekend. The other thing for me, Matt, real quick, the long ball. We're up about 800 to 900 home runs year over year through 20 days versus last year. I don't know what it is, but that ball is flying right now.
Do you believe that? Do you believe the ball's juice?
I do. The other thing I want to know is how many home runs Todd Peterson would have with this ball.
Chad Peterson.
I got you.
I love it. Oh, man, what a guy. I love the fact that you still go to the well with Todd Peterson.
I still got it, man. I caught y'all flipping a little bit on that
one. Dude, he was not ready for it at all. But I bet you, you're going to have to put it on the shelf for a little while because now he's going to, he will have his hand on the button the entire interview now.
No, I will. I'm like a silent assassin. I'll wait till you least expect it.
Kendall Rogers. D1 Baseball. Go to d1baseball.com. You can subscribe up over there for the best college baseball coverage at d1baseball.com. He's a managing editor. Follow him on Twitter at Kendall Rogers. Always appreciate it, man. Thank you.
You got it, Matt. Good talking to you, buddy.
You as well. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. Todd Peterson drives a Volkswagen.
Ted Peterson.
I actually can't back that up. I have no idea if he does. I just wanted to drop Todd Peterson again one more time.
Ted Peterson.
South Point Volkswagen, airline just north of Highland, online at southpointvw.com. They are Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. What that means is they sell more Volkswagens than any other VW dealer in the state. So because they get more inventory, they sell more inventory, they can give you a better price, and they probably have the vehicle you're looking for. And if they don't have it on the lot, they can order it for you and get it here. I always encourage you. Shop them online. It's the Tiguan, the Atlas Cross Sport. Check them out, their whole inventory. Been telling you also about the new ID4. That's the all-electric SUV from Volkswagen. They've got them on the lot right now. You can go test drive one if you've never driven an electric vehicle. It is so cool. Check it out at southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. For South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right. Been a really good show, man. We appreciate everybody for hanging out here. If you missed anything, you can always catch it on demand at 1045ESPN.com. However you get your podcast, just search After Further Review. And then, of course, the After Further Review YouTube channels, Saints, LSU. Search them there, subscribe up. We appreciate it. Tons of LSU spring football talk earlier today. We talked about the Saints kind of peeking ahead in free agency. A couple of reports from Nick Underhill. Apparently, the Saints and Michael Thomas closing in on a new deal, a new contract that would extend Michael Thomas in New Orleans under a new deal. And the Saints did pick up a compensatory pick, so they add a 7th rounder in the compensatory pick for this upcoming draft. So the Saints acquire another draft asset. A lot going on today. The Pels won last night. LSU baseball won last night. LSU basketball won last night. It was a really fun night for all the local teams, and hopefully Tigers can get it done again today. All right, let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, we will give you a final thumbnail preview on LSU Vanderbilt. Also, Otter has sent me his picks. Jimmy last night was 2-1. Let's give him a ding. Hanny last night, who filled in for the Otter, 2-0. So the old guys went 4-1 yesterday. Beautiful. You love to see it. Otter has given me 5 plays. So we'll give you the Otters 5-pack when we come back. Hanny locks in about 15 minutes, and we'll preview LSU Vandy here in mere moments. We're glad you're with us. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Been telling you about ProCharge EV. Just mentioned about South Point having the ID4. Well, every car dealership that is getting their EV inventory, well, they got to have chargers and charging stations on their lot. So if you work at, own, operate, know someone who operates a car dealership, it is so worth giving a call to ProCharge. Listen, sometimes the manufacturers, these big national companies, say they can sell you a charger. The problem with that is they're just going to hire someone locally to install it. Then who services it? What if you have an issue? You're way down their list. ProCharge is local. This is a local company. This is Terrio's group of guys. ProChargeEV.com. They've got EV inventory. They have the chargers, the inventory. And remember, if you're a business owner, there's multiple ways this is beneficial to install an EV charger. Number one, it's an amenity for your customers or for your employees. And number two, it can become a revenue source. They have tap-to-pay options, and ProCharge EV manages all of that. Learn more. ProChargeEV.com. Again, ProChargeEV.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
At Kushner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Kushner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Kushner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, we'll check the poll question in just a quick second. All right, here you go. 5-pack from Jimmy Ott. Otter is in Vegas. So if he said, hey, do you want bets if I have them? I was like, of course I want bets. Are you kidding me? Give me winners. Last night, Otter was 2-1 on his 3 plays. Hanny went 2-0, so 4-1 for the fellas. Here's a 5-pack from Jimmy Ott, all college basketball, all against the spread. You know, Otter's take is that if the line is 5 or less, by the half a point. So he's got here's the 5, and these are all against the spread plays. He's got North Carolina, USC. That's Southern Cal. Well, of course it's Southern Cal. South Carolina's been eliminated. UNC. USC, Boise State, Minnesota, NC State. That's the Otters 5-pack for tonight. North Carolina, Southern Cal, Boise State, Minnesota, NC State. 5-pack of college basketball games for the Otter. If you want to play along, make sure you do it. And Hanny's coming up here in less than 10 minutes. We'll get Hanny's picks. Nice night for Hanny. I played a couple of angles, went 2-0. We'll see if they can keep the winners rolling here as we move through March. Good time. By the way, speaking of which, Muse, update our poll question if you would.
Yes, today's Citizens Bank poll question of the day. Scott Kushner was here talking Pels, and then also told us all about his love for gambling, and he took Moneyline Hawaii. So do you want Scott Kushner to win his Hawaii Moneyline bet? And 53% say no. I don't really
What's wrong with people?
Yeah, I don't know. Scott's a good guy.
You know what that is? That's not even people. You know what that is? That's Twitter.
Yeah.
That's what that is. That's Twitter. That is the element on Twitter that just exists to be overtly negative and just to crap on people. That's unfortunate. There's so much good stuff on Twitter as well. Remember when J.J. Watt after Hurricane Harvey in Houston went on Twitter and was posting, and raised $6 million or something like that. There's great things on social media. You sometimes you have to filter out all the garbage to get to the really good, but there's a lot of really good if you seek it. But there is that element on Twitter that just goes there to be the underbelly. And that's no good. I want Kushner to win.
I do too.
I am very
Well, you also bet with him, so that's why.
Thank you for stepping on my point, Muse. Appreciate that. Yes. I am invested in Scott Kushner winning. Yes, I am very, very invested because I made the play with Scott Kushner. So yes, it should be. Do you want Scone to? If you did, do you want Scone to win his bet? Then it'd be 90% would be no.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't think that.
That's what I'm saying. No, just proving the point.
I mean, I hope Scott wins.
Me too.
Yeah, I know.
How are we doing on that one, by the way?
Check the score.
Let me go check. So Scott Kushner was with us last hour. For those that don't know, Scott is a columnist for The Advocate and for NOLA.com who covers he's a Pelicans columnist. Scott went to Tulane, I believe Tulane and Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Tennessee undergrad, Tulane grad.
I think so. I think that's
however,
what it was.
anyway, so he's an alum of both of those. So we love to mess with him for just being a miserable sports fan. Like all the misery of being a Tennessee fan. Tulane has stunk at everything forever. I know they had a good football season this year, and so it was like as soon as the what did he say? As soon as
3 hours after Tulane won the Cotton Bowl, Zion got hurt.
I mean, I'm not laughing at Zion getting hurt.
No,
that really sucks a lot. But
the situation's hilarious. What's the score?
Oh yeah, let me check. All right.
Oh gosh, Georgetown fired Patrick Ewing.
Yes, they did.
They probably should have done that a while ago.
All right, here we go. Hawaii up 33-31.
Hey.
We are early in the second half. 17:44 remains in that ball game. So Hawaii clinging to a 2-point lead. We need Hawaii on the money line against Cal State Fullerton. All right, it's after further review. We'll talk a little bit of LSU Vandy here in a second. Quick reminder about Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. Michelli.com, listen, if you weigh or measure something, they sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. You can always log on to Michelli.com to learn more. And remember, they're hiring as well. They have a great program for our military. Go to the careers tab at the top, hit the veterans career drop down. And if you are serving or have served our country, you can start the next chapter of your life with Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Go to the website. They have a DoD Skill Bridge partnership. So as you move on from your military career, or even if you're active duty and you're looking for what's next, Michelli could be a way for you to use the skills you learned in the military to further your professional career after your service. So many of their veteran team members are highlighted at the website. Go check it out at Michelli.com. Michelli.com. 76 years in business. Locally owned and operated, spreading their wings from sea to shining sea. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. Michelli.com. All right, LSU Vanderbilt tonight. 8 o'clock is the scheduled tip time there from Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. We'll see if LSU can make it 2 in a row and extend their season. Vanderbilt is a 4.5-point favorite in the ball game tonight. It is worth mentioning that Liam Robbins, the big 7-foot center from Vanderbilt, injured, done for the year, not playing tonight. So some of that length, of course, LSU lacks a lot of length, rim protection, size down in the post. That's been a bugaboo for LSU this year. They've struggled against big physical teams. As John Brady told us last hour, Vanderbilt certainly not that, and especially when you take their 7-footer off of the floor. The sort of interesting local angle of Vanderbilt is Jordan Wright, the Baton Rouge product, who has been really good for Vanderbilt. He averages 10 points a game, 34% from three. Jordan Wright, guard from Vanderbilt, who's had some really big moments for them this season. Vandy's won 8 of their last 9. That includes a win at Kentucky at Rupp Arena. The only loss they had in that stretch is the loss in Baton Rouge to LSU. So for LSU, it was Derek Fountain injured in practice, didn't play yesterday, opened the door for a couple of guys to really step up and take advantage, of that opportunity. Last night, Trey Hannibal got his first double-double of the season, which is really cool to see. Trey Hannibal got his first double-double. He was awesome against Arkansas earlier this year in the SEC opener for LSU. And then we saw Sean Phillips as well, the big freshman, who was not only Sean Phillips averaging 1 point a game. His season high was 4. He had 13 and 10 last night and some really key plays late. He had a big block late in the game. He had an offensive rebound on a putback. So it was nice to see LSU get that win. I think we all are realistic enough to understand what LSU is, what this team is, and what they're going to be. But, man, you get a little feel-good in the belly. You get a little mo going into the offseason and give these guys some confidence as they build toward next year. They're going to remake the roster. We all know that. But you're up in Nashville. You might as well win as many as you can. This is a matchup that suits LSU more than some of the others. So 8 o'clock tip. You'll hear it on our sister station, Eagle 98.1, LSU Vanderbilt from Nashville. See if the Tigers can go make it 2 in a row. We'll talk about it tomorrow. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out our final break of the show. We'll come back. Little Hanny locks and what we learned. Charles Handlegriff 2-0 yesterday on his bets. We'll see what he's got for us tonight when we return here on AFR.
AFR.
You know, every day when I tell you about New Orleans flooring, I say buy where the pros buy. Well, the reason the pros buy at New Orleans flooring is price. So if you're a contractor, maybe you're renovating homes or flipping units, or you're an investor or you're a contractor, it's all about the bottom line. So when you can get a discount on materials, you're going to find it. Well, that's New Orleans flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Airline Highway in Prairieville. If you're on Airline Highway, you go south into Prairieville, you pass the Walmart, it's immediately on the right. You can't miss it. It's New Orleans flooring. You save 40%, up to 40% on flooring, the same brands that you get everywhere else. It's New Orleans flooring. You can always shop them at nolaflooring.com, nolaflooring.com. You can buy today, they can install tomorrow, and all throughout March, tax-free. They'll pick up the tax bill at New Orleans flooring. Learn more at nolaflooring.com.
What the? Is that a skag? You've got to be kidding me. Look at those stripes. Oh, and that comfy seat. It's like he's riding on a cloud. We get it, Gary. Your stripes look perfect.
The moment you know you want a skag. Skag. Simply the best.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models. And as always, you will never pay over MSRP. We also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Remember, if you miss anything, AFR On Demand, presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org, and have really, really exciting news coming up soon from our friends over at Breck. Hopefully, fingers crossed, within the next month about the reopening of one of the courses. So excited to tell you about that coming up soon. Golf.breck.org. All right, one thing left to do. Find out we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So Otter is in Vegas. He has sent us his 5-pack. He's got North Carolina, Southern Cal, Boise State, Minnesota, and NC State. I'll repeat that here in a moment. But pinch hitting, the one and only Charles Hannegriff, who, by the way, a perfect 2-0 last night on Hanny Locks. Give our guy 2 dings. Thank you very much. Hanny, how are you?
I'm doing great, Matt. I'd like to thank that gentleman from Ole Miss for missing that free throw.
Yes.
Like 4.5 seconds to go last night. That was awfully nice.
Yes, wonderful of him to do so. But, hey, a win is a win is a win, and my guy went 2-0, so keep rolling out the winners for us, Hanny. What you got?
All right, we're rolling with desperate teams that are right there on the bubble, the right side or the wrong side. 2 games at 6 o'clock. I agree with Jimmy. I'm taking North Carolina plus the 2.5 against Virginia. North Carolina's in the first 4 out right now. They got to win this one. They may have to win one more besides this, but they definitely got to win this one. They won by 8 in Chapel Hill. They lost by 7 in Charlottesville. I'm going to take the Tar Heels plus the 2.5, worth a money line sprinkle for sure. And in the other game at 6 o'clock, we won with Oklahoma State last night. We'll stay with the Cowboys tonight against Texas. 7-point underdog here. Oklahoma State with that win against Oklahoma last night. Lenardi's got them in, but last 4 in. I don't think they would get dinged too bad if they lost to Texas, but they don't have a lot of room either. So I'm going to say they're a pretty desperate team too. Take Oklahoma State plus the 7. A little bit of a leap of faith here, Matt. They lost both games by double digits to Texas in the regular season. I actually like it as a handicapping angle coming back here. They lost by 10 in Stillwater. They lost by 14 in Austin. We'll take Oklahoma State plus the touchdown. And I'm going against Jimmy at 10:30 tonight. I'm going to take Arizona State plus the 4 against USC. Right now, according to Joe Lenardi, Arizona State is team number 69. They are the first team out. They got to have this one. They lost to USC a week ago by 3 points in Los Angeles. So at a neutral site with their postseason life hanging on the line and catching 4 points, I will take the Sun Devils tonight against USC.
All right, Handy giving you North Carolina, Oklahoma State, and Arizona State. That's a disagreement on Jimmy, who had North Carolina, Southern Cal in that Arizona State game, Boise State, Minnesota, and NC State. So if you want to let Hanny and Ott cancel each other out on USC and Arizona State, that's 4 from Ott, 2 from Hanny. We'll see how we do. Let's have a night. Hanny, where are you, man?
Visually Pearl, downtown
Nice.
Baton Rouge. Lots of TVs. We'll have all the games on, and of course Colucci coming up with us at the bottom of the hour. So, there's a chance that Colucci and Jimmy are together
Lord.
for this segment. So, I'll be able to tell pretty early in the segment whether they've been they're working together today or not. Colucci's actually working. Jimmy's on vacation, so we'll see.
Jimmy's always on vacation. What are we talking about, Hanny? The guy gambles, eats, and drinks for a living. Like, it's a hell of a gig. I mean, that's vacation. I mean, he lives on vacation, which is great. Good for him. He's figured it out.
That's right. He's like Kramer and Seinfeld. His whole life is a fantasy camp. It's fantastic.
All right, Game Time with Jimmy Ott follows us in Baton Rouge. If you're not in Baton Rouge, online at 1045ESPN.com. Hanny pinch hitting for Otter again tonight. Thanks, Hanny. Have a great show.
All right, Matt. Thank you.
All right, man. We'll see you. It's after further review. By the way, someone sent we were talking about the Saints got a 7th-round compensatory pick. Brad Lambert asked, what is a compensatory pick? So I'm going to way oversimplify this, but basically, if the value of free agents that you lose is more than the value of free agents that you sign, you will be compensated. So there's possible 32 compensatory picks, one representative of every team, although every team doesn't get a pick, and there's a cap on the number of compensatory picks you can get. I believe it's 4. The max you can get is 4 in a year. And it's basically related to if you lose a free agent and don't replace him with something equal, then you'll be compensated as such. It's a way of creating parity within the league. So last year the Saints got a couple of compensatory picks. They got one for losing Terry Fontenot in the front office to Atlanta. So, yes, compensatory picks. That's how that works. So you'll always hear around this time before the draft when and no one knows the NFL has never fully disclosed the formula, like how exactly they do it. But there are some people. Do you know the guy, the Twitter account, what the guy's name is that does? He's the closest guy that's figured out the compensatory pick formula, and so he always puts him out there. I can't remember his name. He's got a really good Twitter account. Forgive me, I'm blanking on it, but that's what compensatory picks are when you hear us say that. So thank you for asking. That's the clarification. All right, wrapping up here. We've got less than 60 seconds. Muse, did you learn anything today?
Yeah, I learned that Georgetown fired Patrick Ewing.
Georgetown did fire Patrick. So Patrick Ewing out. Jim Boeheim out yesterday. Yeah. We mentioned Coach K out last year. Roy Williams out a couple of years ago. Big time changing the guard there across the ACC in basketball. Paulie, did you learn anything today?
I learned that Badger Hargett is a 5-star frat name.
Yes! I forgot about Badger Hargett earlier today. LSU landed a punter commit. Badger Hargett and Sharif Ishak, our resident frat-tastic name expert, came on the show and disclosed Badger Hargett, a 5-star. He said it might be the best. Did he say it might be the best?
That's what he said.
It might be the best 5-star name he's ever gotten.
What'd you learn, Matt, quickly?
Muse, Paulie, see you tomorrow.
AFR.
Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Two things to remind you about really quickly. Number one, if you have your scope of work paperwork from insurance, give us a shout. A lot of people have already filed a claim with the insurance. Your claim has been approved. A lot of people already have your check as well from the insurance company. If that's the case and you just need someone to come fix your roof, we can help. Hudco Roofing. Look us up online, HudcoRoofing.com. That's HudcoRoofing.com. At the top of the homepage, 318-225-504-337. Whichever area code you're in, call that number or just fill out the contact form on the homepage. We'd love to help you out. Number two, IDA claims. You have 2 years from the date of an event to file your claim. So if you had or think you had storm damage from Ida, let us help you. We'll come do the inspection. We'll help you file the claim. Our insurance experts will help you get your claim approved. It's Hudco Roofing. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it,